So, going back to yesterday, can you walk me through just, basically your entire workday from the time you checked on and what you did and then how?
Okay, I checked in at the high school right before 9 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually met one of the sergeants from the police department. We're out there talking for a little bit.
Mhm.
He asked me if I was gonna go to the park, which is we call it the Western Park, the Mexican Park. It's actually named Parque de Jardín de los Héroes,
Mhm.
Park of the Heroes.
Mhm.
The senior class was having activities out there for them, which is a senior class because they're getting ready to graduate. He goes, "Are you going out there?" Because they told us to actually patrol the park. I go, "No, nobody's told me." Then my Lieutenant Mike Hernandez texted me and said if I can go out there from 9:30 to 11:30 with the seniors.
Okay.
So I got on location to the Western Park, drove around because there's some of our local, I guess, drunks hang out there just, waiting, just, doing whatever, utilizing the restroom, taking baths and everything like that. So patrolled it. There was a couple of people there, just drove around because the kids, like I said, towards I want to say the back end of the park, there's a little basketball court and a volleyball court. Some of the kids were playing basketball, and the two people that I observed were actually sitting on the park there. So I just drove around, just let them know that I was there.
Okay.
Parked a couple of spaces, stopped, looked to make sure everybody was, nobody was getting approached. Drove around, finally got off and, interacted with the kids and the principal and some of the staff. I want to say maybe about 11, 15, they started debriefing the kids, telling them, we're gonna get ready to, because they bus them out there. So they have about 4 to 5 buses out there in the park. So they were telling them, hey, we're gonna give you some packets. The packets were for the pictures for graduation. And you need this, and you need to turn in before the day of the graduation and stuff like that. So they were telling the kids before they get on the bus to make sure they're, and stuff like that. So some of the kids started walking towards the bus, and then I heard on the police radio of 1050, which was an accident at Geraldine and Grove Street. So I told the assistant principal, Joel Barbosa, hey, I'm taking off. I go, there's an accident by the school. So at the Western Parks, I want to say maybe about the 800 block. Robb is like 400 block of Geraldine. So I came up, I left, and then when I was actually getting in my car, I heard the radio traffic that the guy has a gun. So I turn on my red and blue lights. I'm not running sirens, so just red and blue lights. I come out of the park, which is Farrar Street, take a left on South Farrar, because the park's actually on Farrar Street. So I go up Farrar Street, cut on West Garden, the 300 block, 400 block, and then I go up South Evans Street. From South Evans, I hit Geraldine. So Geraldine actually is where the school's at, sits on Geraldine and Old Carrizo. When I approach, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Geraldine has a little twist on it. Okay, towards the back of the school where the vehicle was at,
Yes.
like a half a block up, there's a little twist. So when I came up, I heard the traffic. I don't know if it was, when I was on Geraldine on Evans, that he was running towards the school. So there was no clothing description provided. So when I came up, I saw people at that curb, like standing, looking towards the school. So when I came up to school, I observed the truck inside I could say a bar ditch, but it has like a concrete where I guess the water sits, so it doesn't sit, so it flows. It was sitting in there, and the rails were all broken up and stuff like that. So when I came up, the actual back gate, the teacher, I guess it's a teacher parking lot. There's a teacher parking lot towards the Old Carrizo, and there's a teacher, I guess the teachers that have classrooms in that where the shooting happened, parked there. But there's a gate, it should have been closed, it was wide open. So when I approached, I actually saw a lady in a peach, maybe orange t-shirt running. I didn't know it was a lady or not. I knew it was a lady after I made contact with her, but I saw her, went to her because they said they were running towards the school. I was going over there towards her. No sirens, just light, red and blue lights. I see her fall in a dust of cloud. So I get to her and I realize she's one of the coaches. I don't know her name, she's dark complected coach, short hair, boyish, tomboyish coach. And she tells me, he's over there. I go, who's over there? He goes, he's over there, the shooter. He's wearing black. And I go, where? So when I turn, actually my vehicle's still there.
Mhm.
At the school, it's the Crown Vic that says UCISD.
Mhm.
It's like, it's closer over there. So when I get out and I approach her, she's like, he's over there. I go, where? She goes, he's over there, he's in black by the teacher parking. So when I look, start hearing rounds going off.
Mhm.
I don't know where they're coming from, but I just know they're getting muffled, they're behind the building.
Mhm.
So then I hear like banging, so I think I under my radio, I don't know if I break, I said, hey, shots fired at Robb School. And then I tell him, the general location where he's at. So I start moving up, trying to get from front of my vehicle to the back. There was the only thing that was the tree and then the building. So I started walking towards there, and then I see an officer, one of the PD officers coming, and then all of a sudden I see like glass coming out and firing, somebody firing in glass, a couple of rounds come out of the glass, and I tell the PD officer, get back, it's coming from over there.
Mhm.
So we get there, I wanna say Sergeant Page from the Uvalde Police Department show up,
Mhm.
and the chief show up, Chief Arredondo show up.
Okay.
So the chief, Donald Page and myself go in on one side, Lieutenant Martinez from the Uvalde Police Department and Sergeant Canales come in through the other side, to the back door. And
What door did you enter?
I entered the door where my vehicle's at, so it's gonna be the south door.
Okay, because the school's right here.
Yes.
And then there's a big field,
Yes,
and then this is a ravine, right?
yes.
And this is where the vehicle was?
Yes.
So you approached,
There's a gate,
Right.
right there, yes,
Okay.
there's a gate, yes.
okay. So you parked here?
No, I drove in, because like I say, I saw that lady running.
Mhm.
She was actually about right here in this area.
Okay,
So I made contact with her, there's like a breezeway with the kids, like an onyx.
yes.
Okay, I made contact with her and she tells me he's over here. She's pointing this way, he's over there, he's dressed in black. I go, where? And she goes, to the teacher parking lot. I wanna say I saw a black car at that end, and then I started hearing the rounds go off, and then like banging, like somebody hitting a metal door.
Mhm.
I can't see nothing because it's behind the building, I can't see it. So, I notify everybody on the radio the best I could, and then, as soon as I start walking over there, I see the rounds come out of the window.
Okay. So when you drove through this gate, you said it was open?
That gate was open,
Okay.
and it should have been locked,
How far did you drive in?
to where my vehicles,
Okay.
stopped, yeah.
There's a pavilion back here, like a big seat,
Yes.
big roof.
Yeah.
So it's in between the
In
school
between,
building?
yeah.
Okay. So you park here, because I know that there's a hallway that goes.
Yeah, there's like a walkway, yes.
Okay.
Actually, where the vehicle's sitting at, that's where I actually stopped at.
Okay, so you drove up to her,
Yeah.
and she's pointing that he's over here?
Yeah, he's behind the building in a black, he's dressed in black.
Okay. And when you drove through, did you see
I
anybody?
didn't see anybody.
Okay. Does your unit have a camera?
No,
So there's no audio, video in your?
no, there's no.
Okay. Do you guys wear body cameras?
No, sir.
Okay. What unit number is that?
Unit 44.
Unit 44. What kind of vehicle is it?
It's 2019,
Mhm.
maybe Ford Fusion.
Ford Fusion.
Yeah, white and color.
Okay. So you drove up to her, she's pointing this way, and when you're talking to her, that's when you start hearing?
Yeah, she said, he's over there. I go, where? She goes, he's over there by the parking lot. And then she goes, he's dressed in black, and then I hear the rounds go off.
Okay, because there's a door right here, right?
Yes, there's a
That goes into
door,
school?
yes.
All right.
There's
And
actually a
there's
door.
windows here?
And then there's a side door right there.
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we made entry with the chief and Sergeant Donald Page.
Okay, so you and Paige came through here, okay.
And I wanna say Lieutenant Martinez and Sergeant Canales from the PD came in through that back door because we're facing
This
each
one?
other. Yes,
Okay. And Canales, you said?
yes. Chief Arredondo was with us on our end.
When you said you heard gunshots, would you believe to be gunshots, and you
Yeah.
saw windows?
Like glass shard,
breaking?
yes.
Coming, now was it on these windows or these windows?
No, it was actually on these windows.
On these windows?
Yes.
Okay. When you saw that happen, where were you?
I was,
So at that point, did he point to a spot for you?
Yes,
And which windows was he talking about?
he was talking about the windows on the east side of the the main hallway where the shooting occurred of rooms 111 and 112.
And so, looking at State's Exhibit 1, you're familiar with the Robb Elementary setup, are you not?
Yes.
This is the fourth grade wing. Which windows was he speaking of?
He was speaking about these windows on the east side of the building.
Did he saw shots coming out?
Yes.
Thank you.
There was actually a tree right there in that area.
Yes.
In that area, I was walking towards the building.
Okay. So when you made entry with Adrian and Chief Arredondo, what did you see inside the school?
Just, when we opened the doors, it looked like, have you ever seen somebody set off a fire extinguisher?
Mhm.
The smoke, that's what it looked like,
Okay.
smoke burn, something burning. So, we went in there, we kinda knew he was in that area, cause I kinda told him, I don't remember if I told him, hey, it's like 3 or 4 windows down,
Mhm.
he's in there, so we kinda all, came in together, and, I didn't see, Lieutenant Martinez get hit, but I don't know what he did,
Mhm.
that he started firing, and then you see him go like that, and everybody scooped back, so I think he got hit, so we kinda moved back, as we're departing, cause he was laying fire.
Mhm.
When Donald Page stepped back, you see a piece of the sheetrock come through, a round come through, so we back up, and, Page is yelling at Javi, hey, are you hit? Are you hit? And I see Javi holding his inner thigh, and he goes, yeah, I'm hit, but I'm good. So they walk out, and we walk out.
Okay. When that's
Well,
going
you know
on,
what? Sergeant Coronado was with us too.
Coronado?
Yes. He's with the UPD.
Okay. UPD. When these gunshots are going off inside where exactly are you inside the building?
I want to say I'm going to be by the first classroom,
Mhm.
right here.
Okay. Do you know what number it is?
No, like I said, there's a hallway.
Yes.
It's a hallway, so I'm gonna be the first one right here. Then I wanna say Pages right here.
On the same highway, but across the hallway?
I'm actually on the back hall, the back wall, and Pages on this front wall, and Chief and Coronado's on this side.
Okay. And while you 4 gentlemen are here, where do you think the shooter's at? I know there's a hallway that goes this way, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be further more to the end over here,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Is there another hallway that comes down this way? at the end?
I know it runs from that back door to the front, there's a door over here.
Okay, that long hallway?
Yeah.
All right.
So I wanna say there's a hallway here,
Mhm.
and like I said, Lieutenant Martinez was here and Sergeant Canales was there.
Okay. So they were in front of you? down
They were in
there?
front of us, yeah.
Okay.
We were like, angled in it that way.
Okay. You didn't see Martinez get hit,
No,
but when did you notice that he might be?
because he's brought it down, and then I heard Paige tell him, are you hit? Are you hit? And he said, yeah, and he like moved backwards, and everybody kind of went back because he started laying around. So I don't know, like I said, I talked to him, he said he kind of peeked in, and that's when the rounds went in. But he said he never saw him.
Mhm.
So the classrooms were dark. From my point of view, the classrooms were all dark, so.
Okay. Were the teachers that turned off?
Yeah, the teachers are instructed to turn off. That's part of the lockdown procedure.
Okay. What else is part of the lockdown procedure?
Whenever something like that happens, there's a threat on school, they go on. Because it's called a Raptor system,
Mm-hmm.
and that sends automatic notification to everybody on campus. All the teachers either through their laptops or their iPads, whatever they have, it sends them the system, and it automatically goes to lockdown. And the front office should deploy something over the intercom saying the lockdown, so.
Okay. So, you guys are How many rounds do you think you heard when you were inside the building?
Inside the building, 7 to 9 maybe,
7 to 9
Yeah.
rounds? And when you were outside,
about 13 or 14 rounds.
13 or 14, before you guys actually
Yeah,
get into
maybe,
it?
yeah.
Okay. So after Martinez gets injured, what happens right after that?
We scoot back, and I think we call for the SWAT team to come in.
Do you remember who called for the SWAT team?
I don't know if it was me or Sergeant Coronado, because we couldn't break in the restroom, we couldn't break in the hallway. For some reason, our radio repeatedly don't break inside the buildings, none of the buildings, school buildings.
Okay.
So we try to, I think we called them while we were outside.
So the four of you, Donald Page, yourself, Chief Arredondo, and Sergeant Coronel, did you exit the same
Yes, exit
door?
the same door.
And where did you guys go after
We
that?
held perimeter right there at that door.
At the door? Okay. Do you know where Martinez and Canales went?
No, I don't know. I couldn't,
Okay.
they were out of my view. The last time I saw them was when Page was asking Martinez if he was hit, and he goes, yeah, I'm okay, I got hit, I'm okay.
Mhm.
They're in that hallway right
So
there.
you could just hear them coming down?
I can see them,
Okay,
we
you
can see them, yeah,
them?
you can see them, yeah.
About how far are they from you, down the hall?
Maybe 50 yards? No, that's just wrong. About 25 to 30 feet, 25 to 30 yards
25 to 30
Yeah.
yards down the hallway?
down the hallway.
Okay.
They're in actually the hallway that runs from that back door to the front door.
Okay. So you guys exit, and then who started calling for the SWAT team?
I want to say either I broke or Coronado broke. One of us broke because,
Mhm.
like I said, we weren't getting service. So we walked out, and I want to say I called, but I don't know if I called to activate the SWAT team.
Okay.
I called the dispatch.
Now, during the break that you guys went outside, were there still
No
rounds
more,
being
no.
fired? Okay. How long do you think you guys were out there for?
Maybe 20, 30 minutes.
20, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Was there radio traffic going back and forth?
Yeah, there was a lot of radio traffic.
Okay.
I know one of the traffics I heard somebody said, call as many agencies as you can.
Okay. But you don't recall who it was? Okay. Now, during those 20 to 30 minutes, you said you heard 7 to 9 rounds while you were approaching the building, right? That's when the glass is breaking that you said on this side?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went
No,
inside?
7 around 9 inside.
Inside?
Yes, outside was
You
more.
heard 13 to 14 outside?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then this was inside?
Because I know Chief Arredondo stayed close in the hallway,
Mhm.
and we were trying to, I remember talking to, I want to say Officer Salcedo,
Mhm.
and there was a female trooper that was with them, and I told them to stay where they're at because glass, they were shooting out the window.
Mhm.
And if you look from that window that's broken, there's a hallway, classroom hallway, and then there's another one. And I want to say Lieutenant Hernandez came up there, and I told him to keep the other hallway clear because that had a straight shot,
Mhm.
line of fire, so nobody, nobody else, none of the blue guys can get hit there. So I told him, keep that area open, so.
Okay. When you come back outside and you guys radio for the SWAT team and you're requesting assistance, you guys were out there for 20 to 30 minutes. Was there any more, did you hear any more gunshots?
No more.
So everything just got quiet?
Quiet.
Was there teachers running out, or could you see any students in the
No.
hallway?
No.
Okay. So initially, when you guys made entry, the
No.
doors were closed?
The
you
doors
saw
were,
lights were off?
yes, lights were off, yes.
No kids were?
No kids were running around. The thing is, on the lockdown, it's everything quiet. They hide, take cover, and complete silence.
Mhm.
We teach them, if they have cell phones, turn them off or silence them.
Mhm.
Mostly the older kids, because they'll start texting families, so that's kind of one of the things that we preach in the in-service, because we teach this program in the in-service,
Mhm.
that, hey, the secure, the hold, and the lockdown,
Secure.
So, yeah, and that's on our Raptor system. It's like I said, every employee at the school district is, required to be on it. That way they can, you know, they can be outside and the coach can hit that alarm and put that whole school on lockdown and not, you know, not do anything, you know, can just be there because they have firsthand knowledge of what's going on.
Okay.
If they're outside, the coach can actually get on that Raptor system and lock down the school from his location. He doesn't have to call the main office or the principal and say, hey, we're gonna go on lockdown. He can lock it down and everybody, it's a mass text, they'll get a mass alert, your phone bill goes off and it gives you an alert.
So any faculty
Any
member,
faculty
police
member.
officer, any employee?
Any school district employee can set it off.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the school, the Uvalde Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, none of them have access. You have to be a school employee to have that, so.
Alright. So what happened after, you guys were out there 20, 30 minutes, what happened after that?
Just the radio traffic back and forth. I went and checked on Officer Ruben Reese because he told us that his wife called him, Miss Mireles, and that she was hit and she was dying.
You went to go check up?
I checked on him. He was in one of the back of the patrol. I want to say Lieutenant Vargas's unit. He was sitting there with Lieutenant Metcalf. I was trying to, you know, come
Because he had already gotten.
because he got a call from his wife and Detective Rodriguez and Lieutenant Hernandez. He tried to make entry and they held him back from going in. And they took his pistol, his duty pistol away because he wanted to go in. So after he received that phone call.
Okay.
So they actually had to take his gun away and sit him down, so.
What happened after that?
I wanna say we started pulling kids out from the first classroom. If you look at on this side, there's the first window. We opened that window and we pulled kids out.
Okay,
And what we did, we pulled kids down, we just told them to run.
okay.
There was, officers there and maybe some family members, they were running too.
Okay.
And then we came to this one, and I wanna say it was myself, Donald Page, and I wanna say, I just know his last name Gonzalez, he's a border patrol agent. He broke that window.
Okay.
And once again, he showed you on a paper which windows that they were evacuating the kids. Is that
Yes.
correct? And which windows were those?
Windows on the west side of school.
On the opposite side of where you
Yes.
saw the glass breaking out with the shots fired?
Yeah, it was these windows to these classrooms.
Thank you.
Broke that window, and then we pulled kids out of there, and we just went strategically all the way down, pulling kids out of the windows, breaking windows.
When you guys were pulling kids out of the classrooms through the windows, did you notice that any of the kids were injured?
No, none of the kids were injured, yes.
So all of the kids that were on these windows, they were removed safely?
They were removed safely, yes.
Okay, and they were taken to the front of the?
They were taken towards that gate where,
Okay.
that I came into.
Okay. During all this time, is there any more gunfire that
No.
you hear? Okay.
Somebody came up and said there's I guess the Vortex team was coming up, and I wanna say somebody said there's gunfire, but I didn't hear it. But somebody said it, you know, just, who said it, I can't tell you, because like I said, there was at least 30 to 40 people hunkered down right there at that entrance, you know, just people waiting to, you know, get there and stuff like that. You know, I guess the Vortex team was waiting for their guys, and, you know, troopers were getting there. Everybody it was just a big old cluster, you know.
Okay. What happened after that?
After that, I guess the Vortex team got there, and, I wanna say I ran from this location. There's another part of the school here that runs a fence line.
Yes.
I ran there and I went and got, some master keys,
Okay.
Canadian master keys to the classroom.
Who did you grab them from?
Cubish, I know he's, one of the mains guy, one of the second guy in command with the mains. I know his last name is Cubish. Yeah. I actually met him by the cafeteria.
Okay.
Met him there and he gave me the key and he said, "You're our master or something." He said, "One of those will open all the doors."
Okay. Now, you were by the door for 20 to 30 minutes, and then you said you went to go
Check
check
on-
up on
Ruben Reese.
Ruben Reese?
Yes.
And you said he was with Lieutenant Vargas?
Lieutenant Hernandez, he was in
Lieutenant-
Lieutenant Vargas's car.
Okay. And Lieutenant Vargas is fine. Mariano Vargas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where were they stationary?
They were, I wanna say their vehicle, there was teachers parking right here, they were somewhere in that area. right
So there was teachers already coming into the.
No, the
gate?
teachers were already parked there.
Oh, okay, they
Yeah,
were already parked
Parked
there.
there, yeah.
Okay, so he parked behind the vehicles?
I wanna say he's parked somewhere in there, his vehicle's actually still there. It's a
Okay.
black Tahoe,
How long were you there with Ruben Reese and Lieutenant Vargas?
10 minutes maybe.
Mhm. Just assessing Ruben Reese?
Just, yeah, making sure he was okay, cause he was like, she's in there, she's bleeding, April, she called me, I could, Ruben, calm down, you know, trying to calm him down.
Mhm.
But, you know, he was like, I guess in a daze, he was just,
Mhm. Okay. Is that where you ran to go meet Cubish for the?
yes, because we have our school radios, and Lieutenant Hernandez called me and said, hey, can you go get keys from the office? So I tried to call Officer Gonzalez on our school radio, she wasn't breaking in the location she was at, and we ended up meeting there at the actual office,
Mhm.
and she was looking for keys, and I went and got them from Cubish in the front, so.
Okay. So after you grabbed the keys, where did you go from there?
I went back to
To the
and
front?
to actually back right here, and I met Ranger Kendall, and I gave him the keys.
Okay, so you gave the keys to Ranger Kendall?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened after that?
They made entry.
Mhm.
Before they made entry, we're there, we set up EMS right there at the door, at least 3 or 4 stretchers.
Mhm.
And then I grabbed some gloves, and they made entry, they said it was clear, and they started pulling bodies out, and we started,
Mhm.
pulling kids out.
During this whole time that you're grabbing the keys, did you ever hear any gunfire?
No,
So the last time you heard gunfire was when you were in here
yes, when Lieutenant Martinez got
and you
hit.
guys pulled back
Yes.
to the rear? Do you remember who was with Ryan Kendall? Do you remember?
No.
And they made entry through the side door, right, on this one?
Yes, they made entry to there.
How long do you think they were in there for?
I was in there for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then they started pulling everybody out. One of the border patrol agents said only medics are allowed in there, to work on kids.
Mhm.
And when I walked out, they were working on missing it, that's right there at the door.
And right
That
here?
door, yes.
Okay. So when Kendall made entry with the team, did you go in there with him?
No,
You didn't? No. You stayed on the outside?
I stayed outside with the EMTs,
Okay.
myself and Detective Rodriguez.
Did you hear any more gunfire after that?
I heard maybe 2 to 3,
Mm-hmm.
that was it.
Okay. And they were coming from inside the school?
Yes. Somebody said, hold the line, hold the radio, because they were making entry, so,
Okay.
right before they made entries. I want to say that's gonna be Officer Michael Water that made that remark.
Mhm.
And the voice is kind of, he has this distinct voice that, I can see him behind me, I know he's talking, so I worked with him for several years, so.
Officer Michael?
Michael Wally with the
Wally?
Uvalde Police Department. 320.
When they made entry, you stayed by the door, and you said, did they return to the door and start handing you kids, or did you go back in?
No, we actually went in and, I actually went in and tried to see if I could help, but they were just dragging bodies out, taking kids out and stuff.
Who did you go in there
I just followed the group that went in, so
with?
they nobody in particular, so. I can tell you right now, I was probably the only CISD in there, besides chief and, I think just chief, the chief was I saw chief in there, so,
Okay.
but I was nowhere near him, so.
So you two, Chief Arada and yourself, were the only ones from,
I wanna say
From
from school
Uvalde
district that
School
was in
Committee?
there, yes.
but you didn't go in with the initial?
No, I didn't go
entry
with
team? Okay.
entry team, no.
You just waited?
Waited, yes.
Okay. Did anybody come back to open the door, or say it was clear, or anything like that?
They cleared the building, and then, I remember giving somebody the keys, cause they wanted a secondary search to clear the rest of the classrooms.
Okay.
So, I know the guys that cleared, the hallway that, where they made it, the hallway that they came in through,
Mhm.
I gave the keys to the guys and they cleared those. Or I gave mine to Chief Arredondo. I gave them the keys, I go, here's the master keys, and there's 2 master keys out,
Mhm.
so they were checking them, so.
Okay. Ranger Kendall had one of the sets of
Yes.
keys? Okay. How long do you think you waited when they made entry? How long do you think they were in there for?
Maybe a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, yeah.
Before the initial clearing, right?
Yes.
Did you ever fire any rounds
No, sir.
during that conference? Okay, so you didn't fire any rounds?
No.
What were you, is that the uniform you're wearing?
Yes.
Okay, the exact same thing?
Same thing.
Okay,
Minus a tourniquet. I
okay.
gave a tourniquet to one of the EMTs and one of the Portec guys, and we were grabbing as many as we can, so I gave them mine.
Okay.
Because they were prepping, for the victims.
When you were approached to school, are you guys issued a rifle?
No, sir. We don't have
So,
rifles.
just your sidearm?
Just your sidearm.
And is that issued, or is that?
That's an issue.
Okay, what kind
It's a Glock 40
of,
by a Gen 5,
model 22?
Model 22.
Okay. 40 cal. And how many magazines do you carry?
3 magazines of 15, and then I got 1 in the chamber.
Okay. So 46 rounds total?
Yes, sir.
During the entire course of when you first drove in and made contact with the female coach that fell, and then she's giving you direction of where he's at, she never gave you a description?
She just said he was wearing all black.
He was wearing,
All
okay,
black,
so
yeah.
she told you he was
Yeah, she
wearing all
was,
black?
he's over there, he's wearing, by the parking lot, wearing all black. And then
Okay.
that's when the round started going on.
Okay. Did you ever see the subject?
No, I never saw him.
Okay. Did anybody that was with you get a glimpse of him?
As far as I know, no.
Do you know if anybody on the entry team was wearing a body camera? Detective Page, Chief Arredondo?
Maybe Sergeant Coronado was wearing one. I can't guarantee you, but maybe Sergeant Coronado and Sergeant Canales. Because Sergeant Page is the sergeant of, I guess he does internal affairs and stuff like that, and the hiring and stuff like that. So I don't know if they carry, him and Lieutenant Martinez, I don't know if they got a body cam available.
And they're both with
With
Uvalde
the Uvalde
PD?
Police Department. But Sergeant Canales and maybe Sergeant Coronado may have body cams on.
Do you have any questions?
No, I'd like to just clarify something, that way we're all on the same sheet. So, when you come up here, right, sir,
Yes.
you never see that individual anywhere?
Never see
You
him.
never see him
No.
drop in?
No.
Okay. And as you're entering that door, right, you're hearing gunfire, correct?
No, we never entered this door.
So you never went inside the school?
Never went inside the school till I got coverage over here, then we made entry.
Okay. But as you're standing out here, you're hearing,
I heard,
I want to ask you about the statement he just made, that I never went in until I got coverage.
Yes,
We have been talking for quite some time about cover as a wall or something of that nature. Cover
Yes.
from gunfire.
Mhm.
But it's used differently here, is it not?
yes.
And what does, I didn't go in until I got coverage, what does that mean to you as a police officer?
He didn't make entry until there was other officers covering the west door.
So coverage means other officers
Yes,
covering for you.
yes,
And he didn't say west door, is that correct? He just said coverage.
yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
heard like 3 or 4, and that's what, no, when I went there, no, there's no gunfire.
right. I guess what I'm just trying to make sure I understand is, when you guys went in, right,
Yes.
you were hearing gunfire?
No, not at that time, no.
The gunfire's
Yeah.
done?
Done, and then when we tried, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what Lieutenant Martinez did, then, 7 to 9 rounds go off, and it's, like I said, it's a high, I know it's, I can't say it for sure, it's an AR-15, but it's a high-power rifle, you can hear it,
And do you guys take the hallway? What I mean by take the hallway, you guys are inside in the hallway, right?
Yes.
So do you take that hallway? In other words, are you there? Are you ready to go if he comes out?
Yes,
Okay. And then, because there's no radio traffic and the radios aren't working, do all y'all come out or just you?
me, Coronado, and I wanna say Page come out. Chief stands in the area where he's trying to make contact with them. He's trying to talk to him, come out and talk to him.
Okay.
That was the last of traffic.
Okay, is he inside the building?
He's inside the building.
So just inside the door, would you
Yeah,
say?
right there, yeah.
Okay, so then, the only one left in there at that time is the chief, and then it's, you
Yeah.
three are outside?
Yeah, we have the door open, and we're holding it.
Okay. All right. And then you're telling us that as you're standing there, you're hearing more gunfire?
No,
The gunfire is over.
gunfire's over, yes.
All right. I just wanted to clarify that. Your dispatch, will they have audio video recording?
They should have radio recording of it, so,
Or you would come out and say, hey,
yeah,
I believe you mentioned that you call for backup?
yes. And I wanna say I think Lieutenant Vargas was the first unit I saw, and I told him to come to me, but he, went the other way, and then Sergeant Page came up to me, to my location.
When the rounds are being fired, sir, are you, I don't need the paper, I'm just trying to, as the rounds are being fired, is there a reason why you don't fire?
Because I don't see where the rounds are coming from.
That way we can
Yeah,
explain.
I know they're coming from the back over here, I just don't know where they're coming from. Okay. So,
And you know anybody else that you know of at that time fired back, right? Because nobody,
not that, as far
Well,
as
at least you.
at least me, I did not fire, yeah, I
And
did not.
that's because-
I didn't see them, I heard them, but I didn't see them. And they're echoing, so I don't know, I know they're coming from the back, I just don't know where from,
When you guys, made that entry into the hallway, there was 4 of you. Did anyone in that group of 4 say, hey, we need to go down this hallway and we need to find this shooter?
No,
No? Did you think about that, or did it ever cross your mind?
it did cross our mind, but
Mhm.
we just never, nobody ever made, we were just covering each other, that's what basically what we're doing.
Mhm.
Holding, covering Chief and covering Page, and then, Coronado covering us, so.
Mhm.
I wanna say there was only one AR, and that was Sergeant Canales had the AR. Everybody else had
Pistols?
pistols.
Okay. Did anybody ever, suggest that when Lieutenant Martinez was hit, hey, we need to go grab Lieutenant Martinez, or we need to?
No, because he was actually mobile.
So, okay, he was.
So,
moving.
yeah, so it was moving, and I wanna say Lieutenant Vargas,
Mhm.
called for EMS.
Okay. Was Lieutenant Vargas with them?
He was in the back. I don't know, I didn't see him, so I
Okay.
can't tell you for sure.
You could just hear.
I know he was there because he was the first one that I saw from my location where I was parked,
Mhm.
and I told him to come to me
Mhm.
for cover, because he had the bigger unit, and, but he did,
We have that word cover and unit there, correct?
Correct.
That he saw Pargas, I told him to come to me for cover because he has a bigger unit. Would you tell us what that means?
From what I observed in the interview, I understood that at some point he may have wanted to use the Lieutenant Vargas's vehicle because it was a bigger unit, bigger vehicle as coverage if he needed it.
And so he called Pargas over so he could have more cover.
That's correct. But then Lieutenant Vargas went to the west side door, and that's when Sergeant Donald Page went over to Mr. Gonzalez and met him at the south door.
The next car that came was Page.
I believe so.
he deterred and went to that area, and then Sergeant Page is the one that came to me.
And of course, you know, because it's a lockdown, there's still kids
Yes.
in the classrooms.
So that's our concern. Do we fire and, do kids get hit? So we don't know the status of it. I try to call the office. I know when I was out there and seeing that the kids were in class, and they kept telling me that there was kids in that classroom.
Mhm.
So when we came out, went through the school radio. So,
Now, when you hear the gunshots inside, do you hear any screaming?
no,
Do you hear any teachers calling for help?
no, nothing. By the time we went in, it was quiet.
Mhm.
So I don't know, like I said, if they were injured or they were doing what the lockdown is, keeping quiet, so.
Mhm. You know approximately what time the lockdown came into effect through a text or?
Check if it's on the Raptor. Sometimes when the alerts go off, they kind of,
Is that an app?
that's an app, it's a Raptor.
How do you spell it, sir?
It's 1132.
At 11:32, and Raptor is,
R8,
Mhm.
let me show you. Oh, that's it right there. So,
R alert.
R alert, yeah.
And you said at what time? 11?
11:32, the school goes on a lockdown. Doesn't give me, the teachers can message and stuff like that, say one of the teachers, hey, I sent, John Doe to the counselor's office.
Mhm.
Does somebody have them, and whoever, the counselor can respond, yes, I got her. Or some of the teachers say,
So it's a mass?
it's a mass, yeah. All the teachers are required to log in and set up an account,
Mhm.
to their schools, so.
Okay.
And just to be clear, there was nobody assigned to Robb Elementary on that day.
Nobody was assigned to Rob.
Is that a normal?
Yes, that's a normal.
Okay. And
And usually we have an early guy, the early shift is from 7 to 9. From 7 AM to 4 PM.
okay.
Okay, that's the early person. The early person does the rounds outside of the high school. Goes and visits the other campuses in the morning.
So there is not one school
There-
that has a permanent officer, as far as you know, here in Uvalde.
The only one that has a permanent officer she's stationed there is Officer Flores and ourselves. We're at the high school. That's our home base. So, but there's days that, hey, you need to go, the traffic, hey, there's a pursuit coming in. Go stand by Rob, or go stand by dual language. We don't get involved in the pursuits. We just make sure nobody comes in and out, because sometimes they just put the campus on secure. On a secure means that if you're inside a building, you're free to move within the building, but nobody outside the building. On a lockdown, everything, lights off, everything out of sight, no communication, no nothing. The teachers are prompted, the principal's prompted to have a password with the teachers and only share it with the teachers. And when he comes on to the intercom, he'll say, okay, password so-and-so, we're good, the secure's been lifted. But he also, the administrators, whoever sets that alarm, can put the school off of lockdown, can close it, so.
And does Uvalde ISD have non-commissioned security guard at any of the schools?
We have a security guard at the high school,
Non-commissioned?
non-commissioned.
Just,
He's just a security, that's his, yeah, he's part of the school district PD, but he's just a security guard. And all he does is basically man the gates, and we'll utilize it for security at the local football games, basketball games, whatever we need, so. He has our authority, he just doesn't have the arresting power, so,
does it carry a weapon?
no,
And who's answering?
that's gonna be Chris Sanchez. And he's always at the high school. He's always stationed at the high school. That's his campus.
Just going back on some notes. So you've been assigned to the Uvalde High School?
Yes.
Correct? On that particular day, or that's your normal?
That's my normal campus, yes.
From 9 to 6?
It
Is that
depends.
consi- okay,
Well,
that could
because-
change?
Yeah, because we have the early shift, which is 7 to 4,
Mhm.
and then we got 8 to 5, and then we have 9 to 6.
How often does it change?
It changes every week. Like
Okay.
this week, I would've been the 9 to 6 guy, so
Okay.
next week I would've been the 7 to 4 guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it goes backwards?
Yeah, it goes, yes. And the only ones that actually utilize that shift are Officer Ruby Gonzalez, Officer
Mhm.
Ruben Reese, and myself. The lieutenant usually comes in at 8, chief comes in at 8, and Cecilia, Officer Flores, who's stationed at the Morales, she comes in at 8.
Okay.
Sometimes, we've had an incident where the traffic control at Dalton, the principal refuses to put somebody out there crossing guard, so
Mhm.
we do that. So lately, it's been since I think after the holidays, the 8 o'clock guy comes in early and does the traffic control at Dalton
Okay.
from 7 to like 7:45.
Okay,
So we do that, and then we go to the high school.
okay. Are you allowed to leave the high school?
Yeah.
To go patrol,
Yes,
say I wanna go to the junior
yeah.
high?
And then what I was saying, the early guy, the 7 to 4 guys, does the early rounds,
Mhm.
visit all the other campuses, and then the late guy visits all the campuses, so.
Okay.
Unless there's something major going on, and like I said, sometimes all 3 or 4 of us are have something going on, we're all working something together,
Mhm.
So there's not, sometimes we don't do rounds, because we're housed there with the administrators, so.
Where's the main office for the school district?
The
police
main-
department?
It's gonna be there at the Uvalde High School.
At the Uvalde High
Yes.
School, that's your main office?
Yes. And it's gonna be number 1 Kyle Trail.
Number 1, Kyle Trail?
Yes, sir. The chief has his office there, along with his administrative secretary, and we call it the squad room, where she's at, and then all 3, Lieutenant Hernandez, Officer Reese, Officer Gonzalez, and myself have our own independent offices.
Okay,
And we're scattered throughout the inside of the high school.
okay. So the school district police department, you said is the chief Aranda, lieutenant, 3 police officers, plus the female that recently just left?
Yes, 4 officers.
Okay, so it'd have been a total of 6, like you said?
Yes.
But right now it's 5,
Yes,
okay. And how many marked units do you have?
6 units.
6 units, so every officer?
Well, actually,
has-
there's only, the 3 Ford Fusions are marked, and Officer Reese is marked, but he has a ghost decals.
Okay,
And chief and the lieutenants are just explorers, great explorers. They have red and blue lights and sirens, but no decals on them.
because they don't do traffic stops?
We don't do it, we
Okay,
don't.
so just to be clear, every independent school district police officer has a way to be mobile?
Yes,
Okay, and they're all take-home units?
they're all taking
Okay,
notes.
so at any given time, you can respond from your house if
Yes.
there's an emergency? And you that's within your policy, I guess your police department allows you, hey, you hear something major?
Yes.
You can
yes,
respond?
Yes, yeah.
Is your-
And most of the time, we'll hear the traffic, the radar traffic, and we have like a group text, and hey, there's a pursuit coming in.
Mhm.
They're coming in, and they're gonna be by Either the dual languages is on 90 West, it's
Mhm.
closer, it's a block away from 90 West,
Mhm.
about the 1,000 block, so it's there. So if we know it's coming that way, we'll start going to that area. If it's coming off of 83 South, we'll generate towards the Robb area. The early guy that's just driving around patrolling, well, that's their job. You know, if we need to come out more, we'll pull the one that's doing the traffic at Dalton, will go assist, you know.
Okay. Going back to when you and the officer were breaking the windows here on by the teacher parking lot,
Yes.
did you notice that there was anything on the ground? Anything that,
No.
someone may have dropped?
No, not till after the fact, somebody says that, hey, there's a bag there that, and it's full of, AR magazines, but which officer said that, I couldn't tell you right now. Possibly wearing green, maybe the camouflage, I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Okay,
So,
all right. But it was after everything, kids were getting
yeah,
evacuated?
yeah, kids were getting evacuated. And the last classroom, I was closer, I was, checking on Ruben again, and I was more towards the back. So, their kids were running, so I was just telling them to go run towards it.
When you guys were over here on the last
That
classroom?
one of the last classrooms, yes.
Okay, because they were pulling them out of the window?
Yes.
So you're kind of guiding them?
Yeah.
They run this
Yeah,
way?
on that last classroom, I was kind of further back and I was guiding the kids out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many windows you guys cleared? How many classrooms?
I wanna say 4.
4?
I say 4, you know, but it could have been more.
Okay. And I'm not looking for a precise number.
Yeah, no, I wanna say
What
4.
you can- Okay,
We opened one and I wanna say I observed them break 3 windows.
okay. And this is after you guys came back outside to regroup?
Yeah.
When the shots were fired inside?
When the shots, the no more, there was no more firing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you know who suggested, hey, let's start?
I wanna say it was, Sergeant Page.
Sergeant Page
Yeah.
said, okay.
And I wanna say, Corporal, or Detective Landry was there. His rank is a corporal with the Uvalde Police Department.
When you guys were doing this, did you ever see Lieutenant Martinez or Canales outside?
No,
Right, so-
I know, I heard the traffic, like I said, Lieutenant Vargas called for an ambulance to have one of the officers check,
Mhm.
and he got checked out, and I guess he came back and joined the crowd, so,
Okay,
but like, by then, it was massive, you know, there was officers everywhere, so.
okay. So you exit, you're standing by the door, right?
Yes.
And then, how many minutes go by before you guys start evacuating the kids, opening these windows?
I wanna say, maybe 15, 20 minutes we're out there,
Mhm.
and then we started pulling kids out, about 5 to 10 minutes after that.
Was that before or after you went to go check up on Grease and Lieutenant Vargas? Because he was in the unit, right? With,
He was inside Lieutenant Vargas's unit,
unit.
yeah.
So did you clear the classrooms and then go check on Grease, or did you check on him first? and-
I wanna say we cleared some of the classrooms first, and then I went to go check on them.
Some of the classrooms?
Well, yeah, because then I went to go check on him after we cleared 2, and like I said, the other agencies started clearing them out.
Okay.
So,
So when you started clearing these windows, how many officers do you think are in the area already? Is it more than just you four?
yeah, there's
Okay,
at least 40 to 60.
okay.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of
Yes,
officers
yeah, yeah,
to help,
yeah.
and you went and checked up on?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanna say I helped with two of the, one window was like I said, the first classroom, the closest one to that door, back door, that's when we opened, and we were let kids out, and, I actually pulled the curtains. The teachers have curtains, I pulled the curtains out, the kids were getting tangled up.
Okay.
And then the second one, when they broke it,
Okay.
they broke it with a baton.
Mhm.
I wanna say it was, I wanna say he does undercover work for the Border Patrol. His last name's Gonzalez, maybe Louis Gonzalez.
Mhm.
He's a special agent. He's always, he's always driving an Impala. That's why I know who he is.
Okay.
And then Coronado started breaking with the baton. And I remember pulling kids out because the glass was broken. And then that's when I kind of went towards Ruben to make sure he was okay. And then, like I said, I was further back with Lieutenant, and Lieutenant, he was inside the vehicle. And then that's when the kids, they started pulling more kids out, and I just started guiding them.
Okay. And the vehicle's right behind the teacher parking lot?
I wanna say the teachers are parked there, and I wanna say maybe 1 or 2 rows of teachers, and Lieutenant Vargas' vehicle's there. It's a black Tahoe, all
Okay.
blacked out.
All right,
I don't even think it has decals on it,
okay,
and it's an older model Tahoe.
all right. Commissioner Young? No? Is there anything you wanna add or something you think you might wanna know?
Now that I can sit back, I went tunnel vision, like I said, with the lady that was running. But like I said, they said they were running to the school, and that's where I saw,
Mhm.
and, you
You
know,
locked in on her?
I knocked in, you know, that was my mistake, but it's just the adrenaline rush going, and, you know, shots fired and stuff like that, so it was just, you know. Because on the radio it said there was a lady shot in the head on Diaz Street, which is 2 blocks down, but I didn't know that the relationship on that, so.
Okay. So that call came in,
That call came in when the accident came in,
okay.
yeah.
Was it a few minutes apart?
I wanna say it was within minutes of each other, you know.
Okay.
I wanna say the first call came in of 10:50,
Mm-hmm,
a guy wrecked into the bar ditch. And
okay.
then the call come out that he had a gun
Mhm,
and he was running towards the school.
mhm.
So, and then they say, hey, there's also a lady shot in the head on Diaz Street. She's been
Mhm.
shot in the head, so.
Okay. Okay. So at the beginning of the interview, that 1050 that you're talking about, was that the pickup truck?
That's a pickup truck.
That they're
It was
calling in?
brown in color, almost
Okay,
like
so that's why you were responding to
Yes.
Robb Elementary
Yes.
School? Okay. Okay.
well, I'm responding because they say the guy's running to the school. I didn't respond to the accident. That's a PD traffic. I'm going over because they say the guy's going to the school and has a gun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why
That's
I'm
what
going,
it was.
that's why I'm responding to the school.
Okay.
So from that bar ditch, he would've went into this gate, correct?
Yes.
And if he's walking and you're coming in, you saw the lady, so you really never saw him?
No.
I mean,
No, I tunnel vision on her. I shot at her. I went at her.
You said she's a female coach, right?
Female coach,
Short black hair?
short black hair,
Okay,
maybe named Natalie. I'm not sure.
okay.
And she was wearing like a peach, maybe orange shirt,
Mhm.
maybe khaki shorts, white
Mhm.
shorts. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
But once you made contact with her, she kept telling you
Yeah.
he's running this way?
He's over there and he's by the teacher parking lot. He's
Mhm.
wearing black, and then that's when the shots started going. But I never saw him.
So really, when you and now, so now I'm starting to understand that, so this is the building, right? This is the school. And teachers park like this, facing the wall?
Yes.
Okay.
Some
And you
going,
said-
some in reverse, some are
Okay.
facing forward. Yeah.
So they could be facing this way,
Yeah.
that way, whatever.
I want to say the last vehicle was a black vehicle.
Black, okay. And you said there's 2 rows?
I want to say there may be a second row.
There might be
Yeah.
a second row, pretty spaced out?
Yes.
To give these
Yeah,
people maybe.
because I think,
I'm assuming-
the only, and like I said, I'm not saying for sure, but I think only the teachers that are housed in that back room
In this building?
and that building are the ones that park there.
Okay. But on occasion, you remember seeing that there may be a second?
Yeah, there may be a second row. Yeah.
So the fence line runs something like this, and then here, the horseshoes.
Yeah, for the
right
school
here,
buses.
The
yes.
half moon, and then the fence comes down this way, and you have let's call it a culvert, that concrete
Yeah.
drainage ditch?
Yes,
Okay, and the truck's facing this way, right?
the actual front of the truck is
Yes.
facing southbound.
Southbound?
Yes.
That
Yeah,
way?
yes.
Okay, the tree line? Okay. And this gate's wide open?
Yes, that's the gate I come through.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, if the female's about right here, the door, and then there's a walkway, because there's a pavilion, I know that. I
There's
saw
a
the
tree
big
there. Yeah, there's a tree
A
there.
pretty big tree, right, it gives a lot of shade.
I wanna
I
say.
saw it yesterday, so.
There's two trees, there's a tree more closer, I wanna say there's a tree closer to the basketball court. But
Okay,
that one, the one I'm talking about, maybe about 12 inches wide, 13
Okay.
inches wide.
cause there's a sidewalk right here, right, in front of the classrooms that goes into this door.
Sidewalk,
Or is there trees here?
there's trees there,
Okay, and then you got vehicles.
vehicles.
So you come in, you hear there's a subject running
Yes.
into the school. Did they give a description?
No.
Just,
She gave me the description.
she gave you the
She-
description,
yeah.
over the radio?
No,
Dr. Carroll?
no description.
So when you're coming in, you notice this
I
vehicle
see the
crashed
vehicle,
out,
yes.
and then she's wearing orange or
And she's
peach.
right, yeah,
So you drive in all the way up here, right?
yes.
Do you think it's possible that maybe when you were driving up, the subject could have been behind cars and
He
trees?
could have been, like I said,
But you never saw
I
it?
never saw him.
Okay. Oh. Okay, now I understand. And that weird curve is right here, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I never saw him make entry,
Mhm.
so, but that's the gate I came in, because it was wide open,
Yeah.
you know?
So it just makes sense to go through there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Because my thing is, the radio traffic said he's running towards the school.
Mhm.
And, you know, the girl, the coach, short hair, you know,
Mhm.
I wanna say maybe
Somebody could have
between
mistaken her?
65, 100 yards away from me.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have great vision, you know, but it's not bad, but I can see somebody running,
Mhm.
you know, and just, I went on her.
Do you wear glasses?
They call shooting glasses, because, to shoot.
Okay, but not like reading
No, no, not
prescription
reading glasses,
glasses?
no, no.
Contacts?
No,
Okay,
nothing like that.
alright, just checking. This road right here,
It's Geraldine.
Geraldine?
Yes.
Okay. And this would be Old Carrizo?
Old Cadiz.
Okay.
And where the truck wrecked out, that's gonna be Grove Street.
Grove Street over here, or
Yes.
this, the one that cuts it?
The one, yeah, the one that intersects right there.
Okay.
The
Grove
T,
Street.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's a little bit off, so I wanna say
Yeah, it's not a perfect
it's
team.
not a perfect team, because just what I saw was more towards, if you're looking at the rail system, the one more to the right-hand side. Looking at it, the right-hand side had more damage than
Okay,
anything else, you know?
alright. Okay.
You know, I wanna say the driver's side door was open, but, you know, I can't tell you for sure, but,
Mhm.
you know, a quick glance, you know,
Mhm.
radio traffic said they were running to the school, so that was my priority, you know,
Yeah.
so,
No, there's a lot going on.
oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and terminate the interview.
Okay.
It's approximately 5:46 PM, and we're gonna stop the interview at this time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to finish that, I don't know how much more he has on direct, but go ahead and take your afternoon recess, take about 10 minutes, and we'll bring you back in. Will everyone rise for the jury? Wait, I'm gonna appoint you.
Ranger Guajardo, my name is Jason Goss. I'm one of the attorneys for Adrian, represent him. You and I don't know each other, but I do have a few questions for you about the statement that you took. And I guess the first question, if I could, and maybe you have it up there with you, maybe you don't, but do you remember how many different people's statements you took?
No, sir, I do not.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many?
I couldn't even tell you.
Like, was it more than 10?
Yes, sir.
You think it was more than 50?
Close, but I wouldn't be able to
Okay.
tell you.
And I guess, you know, it's not like a gotcha moment on you. I just want to make sure that it's clear that you took statements from a lot of different people who were involved at the scene on that day, right?
Correct.
And as far, I didn't really get to see, I know that you responded, because you responded there and you started taking statements as one of your duties. Were you, I guess, what time do you remember getting there? Did you get there on the 24th?
Yes, sir.
Did you get there while it was still ongoing, meaning before they shot the suspect or the shooter or the killer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember when?
I don't remember exactly how long I was there before the suspect was shot and killed.
Right. And so what, if I could just walk back through it, what were you doing when you first got there? I know you might have answered it with him, but I don't think I caught it.
When I got the call from my supervisor, we responded from Crystal City in Zavala County. So by the time we arrived, it took us a while to get there. I don't remember exactly how long we were on the road for. But by the time I got there, we ended up parking on the south side of Robb Elementary on Old Carrizo Road. We couldn't proceed any further because of all the law enforcement officers that had already arrived and were blocking Old Carrizo Road and Geraldine, which is north of Robb Elementary. So we met on Old Carrizo Road. We pulled off, and I met with my lieutenant. And at that point, my lieutenant was just trying to gather as much information that he could from one of our rangers that was actually inside of Robb Elementary during the event.
Okay. So do you know which ranger was inside Robb Elementary?
Yes, sir. The Texas Ranger Ryan Kendall.
Okay. And I think that we get a reference on that from Adrian's statement. Ryan Kendall was the ranger that Adrian went and, I guess, gave the master key to.
Correct.
All right. And so one of the rangers, was that the only ranger that was inside the school?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I mean, if it wasn't, I'm not gonna come back later and go, oh, there was another guy there but just to your knowledge, he was, to your knowledge, the only one that was there.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Right, and then, as far as rangers outside of the school, do you know how many of you guys were outside of the school or kind of in that mass of law enforcement?
Upon arrival, it was myself and my lieutenant, and then there was multiple rangers arriving at different times, but I couldn't give you an exact number.
Okay, that's fair. The reason I say that is because in some of these parts where Adrian said, well, we were waiting here, went to get kids out here, and then we were waiting here, or right before the breach, I was waiting over here or standing over here. That would also apply to all the rangers that were out there. They were waiting. They didn't breach and go in, the ones that you're talking about that were outside of the school, including yourself.
Correct.
Right. So you were also like kind of out there waiting right before the breach happened, wherever you were. You agree with that?
When I arrived, I was immediately given an assignment because we couldn't approach the school anymore because of the traffic on Old Carrizo and Geraldine Street. But immediately after arriving, there was students from those classrooms running south across the field on Robb Elementary towards Old Carrizo Road. So we gathered uniformed officers to kind of keep them off the street and get them to an empty parking lot, or an empty lot, that's south of Robb Elementary. So I was assigning troopers to stay with the kids and put up crime scene tape so we wouldn't have non-essential personnel coming into that lot because of the safety of the kids. And I was instructing the uniform officers to get with the homeroom teachers if they could, and make sure that the kids at least could find their school teacher, so we could make arrangements to have them bust from that area that was already cleared by law enforcement, to get them evacuated out of that neighborhood and get them somewhere safe.
And this is still when that monster's in the classroom alive with those kids, right? In 111.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Mm.
And here's why I say it. I don't say it to say that you were doing wrong by not rushing yourself and going into the room. It's that you had other assignments that you were assigned by a supervisor, right, when you first got there.
Yes, sir.
And you were helping the kids that were able to get out. It's important also that they remain safe in an active situation. You agree with that?
Correct.
Right. Because, you know, like training can be twisted around to say, well, if you knew the location, your training, alert training says it's your job to run over there and run into the classroom. I mean, training can be twisted that way. You would agree with that?
I wouldn't say that the training could be twisted. Every chain of events is going to have a particular way of how you treat it in a critical incident.
Sure, and I guess what I mean is though, is that if you just took the training as, you know, we've seen and kind of heard from different parts of training, if you just took the training as it is, the training doesn't say on alert active shooter, because he's still an active shooter at this time that you're there, right?
There were no gunshots being fired when I arrived. So we were still gathering information as to, there was information that it was an active shooter, and then there was information that it was a barricaded subject,
Right.
and possibility of a hostage situation. So there's still phone calls being made and information being processed that we needed to get, so we knew what proper steps that we need to do.
And I want to key in on that. Because I think it was I think you made a good. I think you made a good distinction. So what I said is I said, well, when you got there, there was still an and I wrote here one, there was still an active shooter. And you said, well, yes, but we were getting information of, can you repeat that?
Of a barricaded subject.
And then what was the other one you said?
The hostages.
A potential hostage situation.
Potentially, yes.
Now, you would agree, because you've had the same, I guess, you as a ranger, you get the same types of trainings that any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas would get through TCO.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, it's not like rangers are special or different in the sense that, I mean, you know, you might take different trainings, but at least you're getting the same kind of active shooter training, hostage training, barricaded subject training.
Correct.
All right. And you know that the trainings teach you to respond to these in different ways.
Correct.
Right. Because if a person is barricaded You don't necessarily respond to them as if they were an active shooter.
Correct.
If a person is, if it's a potential hostage situation, you don't necessarily respond to it as if it's an active shooter or a barricaded subject.
Correct.
Okay, and so the reason I say that is because, and I'm not faulting you, I think that you would agree with me that there was a lot of confusion about what was happening out there, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because if you're getting conflicting accounts of, okay, this is an active shooter, okay, no, it's a barricaded subject, or here, we're hearing it's a possible hostage situation. They have people, I guess, you may not know, but it would be consistent on a hostage situation if somebody's kind of trying to talk to the shooter, saying, hey, come out, don't do this, those kind of things, trying to negotiate, like that would be more similar to a hostage situation, right?
Correct.
Okay. You wouldn't do that with an active shooter. You don't go, hey, please, will you stop shooting, right? Your training for that tells you to do something different.
Correct.
Okay. So the idea is that you guys, as the Rangers and all these other officers on scene, it is a chaotic and confusing scene. You would agree with that?
In the observation or the investigation, there was a lot of events that were happening. And going back to the active shooter, barricaded subject, and the potential hostage situation, in the alert training, it's very important for the first officer that arrives that he's the one that initially decides, is this an active shooter or a barricaded subject, and then acts according to the alert policies that they've been taught.
Sure, I understand that, but I guess that you're assuming that I guess Adrian is the first one that arrived?
Based on the investigation that I did and the statement that I took from Adrian, that's what I was led to believe.
Sure. And I'll tell you that you're right by about 25 seconds, right? So, but let's talk about the first ones to arrive. If I can use this map. Because when we're talking about a school, it's the first one maybe to arrive like on the grounds of the school, that's one thing. But also, you could have the first ones to arrive on the same side of the school as the shooter and seize the shooter. Like, that would be different, right?
Correct.
Right, because somebody could arrive over here on this very back side of the school, and they could be the first ones here, but not know anything that's going on over here. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Right, because if by necessity the first one to arrive is not getting radio traffic from other people who are there that's telling him this is where the person is, or descriptions or whatever else, right?
Correct.
Maybe they've talked to a witness, and we'll talk about that. But I guess the idea is that there is the first to arrive, but there's also the first to actually law enforcement to see the shooter and what the shooter is doing, right? And that would be different.
Can you reword the question?
Sure. And let's just talk about it, how it went, because we've been pointing at this map, for 2 weeks. But that Adrian's down here. That's when he arrives, this is where he is.
Correct.
Okay. You also know from your investigation that there were 3 officers that were right here. Mendoza, Saucedo, Coronado.
I don't recall physically or talking to any of them that were actually there.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the 3 officers that you just named were at that intersection. That's information that I learned later.
Okay.
But I never got to interview any of the officers there.
Okay. But you do know the information. You learned it.
Yes.
Okay. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about is what because if you have the information, they need the information. So I'll talk about the information you have now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you got these 3, and they arrived about 25 to 30 seconds after Adrian arrives here. Right?
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. But you do know there's 3 here.
Again, it's information that was given to me secondhand, so I've never verified it or checked it.
Well, I can tell you that it's true, and if it wasn't true, they would say it's not true. I'm telling you it's true.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I guess here's what I mean by that. And this is what I mean, that training you can use training in a lot of different ways. Like, well, our training says the first to arrive. Well, I guess that's true, but if you're the first to arrive by 2 seconds and you don't have a line of sight to the shooter, then that may not be the person who has to determine whether or not it's an active shooter, right? It would be the first to arrive that actually has line of sight and can see what's going on and knows what's going on.
Correct.
Right, and so, because it's not like this, it's not this black and white rule that if your car gets there first, wherever it gets on the school campus, that you're the person that has to determine it. Because like I said, if you're in locations that can't see what's happening, you may not have the best information. It may be other people who arrive a little bit later than you, but have better information about what's happening.
Correct.
Okay, and so because I want to talk a little bit about, you know, the nature of interviews. As part of, and let's just talk about set the scene of when you did that interview. You did that interview on May 25th, 2022.
Correct.
Which is, I mean, was it less than 24 hours or a little more than 24 hours after this thing occurred?
A little more than 24 hours.
Okay. And you know, and you've heard, I'm sure, that interviewing anybody who's gone through something like this, that soon after, it's not the most advisable thing as far as getting the most accurate information. You've heard that.
That would depend on the officer that's been involved in that critical incident.
Sure. I mean, there's some that may be fine and, you know, that can accurately recall all the details. But you have heard, I'm sure, now that there's like advice that says, look, you need to wait 72, sometimes 4 or 5 days until after that before interviewing somebody.
That's usually done when officer's been involved in an officer-involved shooting that's used his weapon or things of that nature. Because of the scope of this information, the scope of this investigation, how large it was, we needed to get as much information as quickly as possible because we needed to assure that the suspect that was shot and killed at Robb Elementary didn't have co-conspirators. So that was the urgency of trying to interview to gain as much information as we could.
Yes, and do not get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't have done that. You should have done that. You needed to do that. That's not the issue. You got to interview people when you got to interview them, especially if there's a potential threat out there. And I remember, and I know even from the time, but I know that you guys were looking for any other Confederates, anybody else that could have helped him or been a part of that or knew about it before he did it, right? That was a big part of what we
That's
did.
correct.
Right. So you have to do it. But I guess what I'm saying is that if you can acknowledge that, yeah, sometimes the circumstances mean we can't do best practices, and that also may mean that we're interviewing somebody who's gone through a traumatic event, right? And so you have time compression and all those other things that you know can happen to police officers or others when involved in a situation like this, right?
Correct.
Right, because an officer-involved shooting, it's not necessarily tied to the fact that an officer has had to use their gun and fire their gun. It's tied to the fact that they're in a situation where either they fired their gun or they've been fired upon.
Correct.
Right, or they believe they've been fired upon, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that Adrian told you in the interview was these shots are starting to get fired, but he cannot see the shooter and he doesn't know where they're coming from.
Well, that's not exactly accurate. If I may, when I'm interviewing Mr. Gonzalez, he says that he's talking to the female teacher that's running and falls on the ground, and he drives up to her, and when he's talking to her, she's telling him he's over there, and she's pointing towards the teacher parking lot, and you can hear that in the interview. We go back several times because I'm not familiar with Robb Elementary. I've never been to that campus before May 24th. And that is not his regular place where he's stationed. We got that out of the way right at the beginning of the interview. So we're going back and forth where I need to draw a map and I need to get my bearings too, so I know exactly what Mr. Gonzalez is talking about and what door he's talking about and which door he walked into and where other details, right? But
Sure.
that was the whole point of having the map and just going back and forth. But he does recall that he's talking to the female teacher. He turns around, immediately starts hearing rounds go off that he later describes as he believed were gunshots in the interview. Right, just to clear it. And he says,
But my question, if we would go back, because you kind of answered a long way around.
okay,
My question was, is he was clear that he did not see the shooter and didn't know where the shots were coming from, specifically. Because you can't know where the
Okay.
shots are coming from if you can't see the shooter shooting. You understand? You get that, right?
so it's a two-part question that you're asking me. He never saw the shooter, that's,
Never
you're
saw the
correct.
shooter.
No.
Never saw the shooter.
Never saw a shooter. When he hears the rounds, he says they're being muffled. He goes, and I know that they're coming from behind the building.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about it. This is behind the building, right, from where he is.
Yes,
This is behind the building.
yes.
This is behind the building.
Mhm.
This is behind the building. All of these are behind the building from where he is. If he's looking here, that's behind the building. You would agree, a shot coming from here.
Yes,
Okay. And this is behind the building and this, so all I'm saying is that that's not, saying behind the building does not say, I know where these shots are coming from. He knows a general area that covers about half a mile where they could be coming from. But he doesn't know exactly where the shots are coming from because, and we'll talk about it, he even mentions it. He says because there's echo, right?
correct.
He said they're echoing. Now, when we talk about echo, you know this as an officer. The gunfire, gunshots, especially a gunshot that comes out of a rifle, such as the one that this murderer was using, are loud. You would agree with that?
They are loud, yes.
Very loud. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't fire one intentionally if you could help it without using ear protection,
Correct.
because they're so loud it can damage your ears. Now, if you're using it in the field and you have to, you're not maybe going to put on ear protection, you deal with it. But they're that loud that you would protect your ears if you could while firing one of these, like on a range or something like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you also know that gunfire, because you're trained in this, that gunfire will echo off of structures if there are structures around, right?
I've never received a type of training where it specifically talks about the report of a firearm being shot, that it bounces off. I understand there's echoes, but to tell you that I've received formal training, I know exactly where it's coming from or
Well, let's talk
how
about,
far.
yeah, let's talk about your experience, because there's been a lot of officers before that have testified, and they talked about it's common, that an echo, what'll happen is that the sound will bounce off of a structure and it can enter your ear in a different place than it's actually coming from because of the echo. Have you had a personal experience with that, like firing rounds and maybe hearing like it sounded like 2 rounds getting fired when it was only 1 because of the echo?
No, sir.
Ever? Have you ever been in a place that had an echo and even when you're a kid, you said, hello, 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 hello? Have you done that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I don't make light of it, it's just, I'm trying to gather, you do have experience with echo.
Yes.
And you understand the process, that sound bouncing off of things and then coming back to you.
Understood.
So I put out hello and it comes back hello.
Yes.
Okay. Gunfire can be the same. Gunfire reports bouncing off of structures can cause a human being not to understand or know exactly where it's coming from. Because the echo, if the echo's coming in their right ear, something that's being fired on their left side could sound like it's coming from the right. You understand that as a concept, even
Yes.
if you haven't been formally trained in it.
Yes.
And that can throw off the human body's ability to understand and locate where gunfire is coming from. You understand that?
Yes.
And he actually, the day after this happened, he told you that that's what he was experiencing. He was experiencing echo, which caused him not to be able to understand where the gunfire was coming from. Right?
Correct.
Except behind the building, somewhere. Now, these officers here, I don't know, I guess I'll see if you found out later, but these officers here actually, when the shooter is shooting into the windows here, these officers here believe that the gunfire is actually being fired at them. Did you know that later?
No.
Okay, that they were like ducking and diving under their cars because they thought that the gunfire was coming at them when it was going the opposite way, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if that's the case, you would understand that because of the concept of echo, he's firing at a building, it's bouncing off the building, and they believe that the gunfire is coming in their direction, and that would make sense to you,
Yes.
right? The only thing that you could really figure out, like, oh no, he's not firing at us, is if you see him and you see the shooter and they are firing in this location and you realize, okay, the gunfire is going that way, not coming at us, right?
Correct.
Okay, but if you cannot see him, you're still in that problem of trying to echolocate, you know, where these shots are being fired. And I only point that out to say, to go with what you were talking about, one of the things you said to Adrian, there was a lot going on out there, right? That can add anything that can affect your sensory perceptions of what's happening, is just added into the mix of a lot going on out there. You would agree?
Correct.
Right, like, and you know, and you've been trained, and I know you've been trained on this because all police officers have to know that if you're in this situation, you will start to have an adrenaline dump, right? And you've heard of that term or something like that. Increased levels of adrenaline going through your body.
Yes.
And then with an adrenaline dump, it can affect the way that you are hearing things and the way that you are seeing things and the way that you perceive time. You have heard that.
Yes.
Time can go very slow or it can speed up very fast for you at different times.
Correct.
Even the same person could experience time going very slowly and then going very quickly. And the reason they tell you guys that is because they say, look, you need to understand and know this so that you can expect it and then control it to the best of your ability.
Correct.
Right, because if they didn't teach all that, and you know, you guys, and something like this happened to you, it might distort your ability to respond. Right.
Correct.
Right, because of how that's going. So he's telling you that he hears banging. He's saying like he's somewhere behind the building. I don't know where they're coming from. And I can't see him, but I know it's somewhere behind the building. Then he does talk about seeing this coach. And now I want to talk. I don't in fact think she was a coach. I think that she's a teacher's aide, a teacher's assistant. But either way, you came to find out in your investigation that that's Melody Flores.
I do know.
You're right, that he was speaking to. So I want to go through and talk about a few of the things he told you. So he told you, for one, that he was at the high school, well, he's at what they call Mexican Park, which is with the seniors, because they were having a senior awards day or something, some senior fun day or something going on at Mexican Park, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then he hears it. He hears that there's a crash at the elementary school, outside the school. And then he hears that there's a person that has a gun that's going towards the school. Right? That's what he tells you.
He makes two separate statements. I believe the first one is man with a gun. And then while he's en route to Robb Elementary, he hears he's running towards a school.
Well, and I guess if you, I don't know, is because part of your investigation, regardless of how everything seems now, your investigation wasn't to investigate him, it was just to get his statement about what happened that day.
That's correct.
Right, so, just like with the other maybe 50 officers you investigated that aren't charged in this case, you weren't intending to investigate them, you were intending to find out as witnesses what happened that day, right?
That's correct.
Right, and as far as the dispatch, as part of that, I'm assuming you probably didn't at the time, you didn't go like listen to the dispatch to follow up to see if that's really what was going out over the radio.
No, I did not.
Okay. And I guess to this day you haven't done that.
No, sir, I have not.
Okay, but do you know from your knowledge now, because I know that the Rangers spend a lot of time investigating this and eventually have some shared knowledge about what happened, either through the reports, the committee reports, the Uvalde ISD report, all the reports that don't have him guilty of anything at all. But in reviewing all of those things, have you been able to see that this radio traffic actually that's what was being radioed out, that there was first a wreck, oh my gosh, somebody's wrecked. Then there's, oh my gosh, this person has a gun. And then Adrian told you that he heard a lady got shot in the head about 2 blocks away, also while he was en route, right?
Correct.
And we know that that was the shooter's grandmother that he
Yes.
shot in the face.
Yes.
Okay. So all of this is going on in his head, and he tells you that he responded. He took action. You would agree with that,
Correct, he responded.
right? And took action. That's taking action.
Yes.
All right. Now let's talk about what else is taking action. Put this up here for you, please. Let's go to this one first. I'll just need you to go back on the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna come up here with you. So what Adrian is explaining to you in this interview is that he's receiving this information, and he did not say, I'm gonna stay here, not do anything about it. He got in his car and he responded as you would expect him to do, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then what he tells you, because the phrase and the language that he says is, he said, well, I made a mistake, but I want to talk about whether or not he really made a mistake in this situation with what he knew. So he says he's coming down this street and he tells you that this gate has been left open, right? This is the teacher gate.
That's correct.
And this would be a teacher gate that goes into the teacher parking lot on the west side, which is what he explained, that the teachers in this building would park here, access that parking lot through this gate, and it's supposed to be closed, but when he pulled up, he noticed 2 things. There's a truck in the culvert, and this gate is open.
That's correct.
Right. And then he noticed a third thing. Somebody is running towards the school up here, and he saw that. He told you he saw somebody running towards the school.
Said he saw a person running. Whether or not it was towards the school or away from the school, that was never said in the interview. But I agree that he saw a person running.
Saw a person running. Now, you're a police officer. It's been dispatched. Now remember, on the dispatch, it doesn't say that they have a long rifle. I'm sorry if I blocked. It doesn't say the person has a long rifle. It says the person has a gun. Now, a gun to you can mean a long rifle, right?
Correct.
Could also mean, yeah, thank you.
Correct. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I think we can move it a little bit because I know it's been awkward for every witness to have to do that. Maybe that'll help. So a long rifle is a gun, but a handgun's also a gun.
Correct.
Now, and we can just talk about the difference, if it had been described that the person's running with a long rifle, maybe if you see a person running that doesn't have a long rifle, maybe you can exclude that person as a person who is the threat or is the danger, right? You would agree with that?
Yes.
Because it's hard to hide a long rifle, from view. If you can see both their hands and they don't have a rifle sticking out somewhere, you can go, okay, that may not be the person. Let me look and try to find somebody else that looks like they have a rifle, right?
That's correct.
Right. But if you only know that they're running towards the school with a gun, a person running can have that gun right here in their pants. They can have it in their hand. They can have it in a pocket. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to know if that person had a gun or not, right?
Correct.
Okay. So he comes and he sees this. He says, this is not my concern, because my concern is that I've been told that somebody with a gun is running towards the school and I can see a person running, right?
Correct.
Now his language, one of the things he says is, he's talking about her as if it's a she, but he tells you that at the time, I'm saying it now because I know now that it was a she, but at the time I did not know it was a she. She had short hair. I didn't recognize the person, and I believed what he's telling you by having tunnel vision, and I tunneled in on her, which he's saying her, but he didn't know her at the time. You'd agree with that?
Correct.
Right. I tunneled in on her. So what he's doing is you have an officer that believes that a person with a gun is running towards the school, and he takes action. You agree with that?
Correct.
Right. Because He drives down here. Did you see the video of the funeral home, like how fast he's driving on this dirt road to get to this person?
I remember seeing the video.
I mean, he's, you know, his car is going, boom, boom, he's going like 50 miles an hour down this road to try to get to her. So he goes all the way where we see the car. Nico, can you back it up?
Left or right?
Left. Goes all the way to here. And he tells you that this is where he stopped, that he stopped his vehicle where he finally met the person who was running. Right? He said, where you see my vehicle here is where I stopped my vehicle at the time. And meaning that it wasn't like he stopped like here and then somebody moved it up here. He stopped it here, and you can agree with that.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So now we know that that has put him on the far south and east side of the building, right?
Yes.
All right, now what he described is he said, I made a mistake, I got tunnel vision. So first of all, tunnel vision means you have identified, and it can happen, not always, but when you identify a threat and you have tunnel vision, you start focusing specifically on the threat. That can happen with tunnel vision.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, all these questions, you know, it's weird, it's cross-examination, so the rules say I could just ask you and kind of put a little question mark on the end of it. But if you don't agree with me, please say no. But what I'm asking is that with tunnel vision, and you're zeroing in on a threat, what that means is that you're excluding things like in the periphery, right?
Correct.
So if I perceived you as a threat, all of a sudden, like right now, I can see the jury out of the corner of my eye and out of the side of my eye. I can see them. I can't see them well, and I can't see their faces. But I can at least see that there's people over here. If you pulled out a gun, I wouldn't see those people anymore. I wouldn't see this anymore. I'd be zeroed in tunnel vision on you.
That's a possibility.
Right.
Yes.
And that's a common possibility, common enough that law enforcement is trained on. Right?
Yes.
I don't know. Thank you. So, yeah, and so let's talk about it. He said I made a mistake, but really he was mistaken about who the person was and what their intents were, or what their intent was as they were running. You agree with that?
Can you reword the question?
Yeah, he said, because he told you, well, you know, I made a mistake and I got tunnel vision. Well, it's not a mistake to have tunnel vision, because that happens to us without us wanting to have it happen to us, right?
Correct.
Right, it's like it's an involuntary thing that happens when you're responding to a threat. And so that's not him making a mistake, it's just what happened, right? Right.
That's what Mr. Gonzalez said happened.
Right,
Yes.
right, but as a law enforcement officer, I'm gonna ask you, you know that if you think you see a guy running towards a school that has a gun, you're gonna get zeroed in on that person too, if that's what's been dispatched to you.
Zeroing in on a person and getting tunnel vision are two different things. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just, I don't agree with the way you explained it,
Yeah, maybe.
but
That's okay. But I guess what I'm saying is that any reasonable law enforcement officer who's been dispatched and the person says they are running towards the school with a gun, if they see it, and I'll tell you, this is where she was running, she fell down. But they see somebody running towards the school with a gun, well, with what they think is a gun, you're gonna go to that person.
I agree.
Right. You're not gonna dilly-dally around here and this person's now running into that building and shooting kids.
Correct.
Right, you're gonna go right to that person until you figure out they're not a threat.
Correct.
Right, and say it is the person with the gun. You will have choices, like, I'm about to run this person over, or I'm about to stop this car and, you know, have to get out and engage with this person. Right, those are the options. If he is correct, and this is the shooter, this is the person going towards the school, he's going towards there to get into a conflict with this person, right?
Correct.
Right, he's going there to engage, to distract, to delay, to use whatever he can use at his disposal to stop this person from going into the school. That's the assumption you can make.
Yes.
Right.
Well, it's not an assumption. It's what you're supposed to do. That's the foundation of alerts training.
That's right.
Is you isolate, you distract, and you neutralize.
Right, isolate, distract, neutralize. Had this person been the gunman, Adrian's going to isolate, distract, and neutralize.
Correct.
I mean, you believe that, right? And I mean, I believe it, and I think everybody else here knows that that's the reason he's down here. And he's consistently said that to you and And we've gotten it out through other witnesses.
Correct.
Yeah, and so when I said he's mistaken, what that means is that factually it wasn't the gunman. But with all the information that he had at the time, that is a smart maneuver. That is a smart thing to do, is to go to the person you believe is the threat. That's law enforcement.
Correct.
Right. You know, the day after, somebody may be beating themselves up about it, because what we know now through the witness is the guy's in here in the parking lot. And he drove right past them, right? But did you review the testimony, or not necessarily the testimony, but as part of your investigation from the funeral home director who was calling it in and got shot at by the gunman, and he's across the street? I'll just tell you, he testified to the jury that the gunman was down between two cars, and there's no way Adrian could have seen him, because he could see him and he could see the cop, but he could see that the cop couldn't have seen the gunman. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. But the gunman now is hidden in this parking lot. He has gone this way. At the time that he gets out, he tells you he's talking to her, and then she starts to tell him. He's over on the west side, like in the teacher parking lot on the west side. He's wearing all black, right? Is that what you remember from the interview? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, go ahead and take the water. So, I guess, you know, that's another thing. Had the description come out over the radio to him, or let's say to you if you were responding, and they said, person with the gun is wearing all black, well, this lady up here in orange or red, that's not the person you're going for, right?
Correct.
Right. But it didn't, and it's nobody's fault that it didn't. But in these kind of situations, information comes in bits and pieces, and you have to do the best you can with what you have. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as the shooter though, we know from the shell casings that he's firing into these windows along this side of the building. Now, if that's happening, it is consistent with what he's saying that the witness told him, that it's in the teacher parking lot, right? It's also consistent with him thinking that the gunshots are coming from behind the building, like somewhere, but he doesn't know where because he can't see. Now, he's here, this guy's here. Did you review the radio traffic that when he calls out that the guy's on the west side of the building, wearing all black, the second before he calls that out, the guy's already entered the building? Did you see that happened?
I never reviewed the
Okay.
radio traffic.
And fair's fair. But because there was another part of the interview is that he's saying, and I know you were pointing to a diagram, you made a map. I don't even have it. Did you ever give that over to the DA's office?
Yes, sir.
Or was that the one you sent over? Okay. Yeah, I'll take that back. I hadn't remembered that we got it, but it was one of those that you sent over. I found it. So that, talking about the map, because one of the things you said was, or one of the things he said is, he said, I never went in until I got coverage over here. And I think he was pointing to the south side of the building. You heard him say that in the interview?
He was. My understanding is that he went in through the south door, and he meant coverage on the west door, because he's calling over Lieutenant Mariano Pargas in that large SUV, but for some reason Lieutenant Pargas keeps driving. Donald Page comes over to him on the south door with Mr. Gonzalez, and Lieutenant Mariano Pargas ends up on the west side.
Well, and you know that as a law enforcement maneuver, sometimes, so for instance, let's go back up here and look real quick. For instance, let's just imagine, let's imagine this, you see this little person right here?
Yes.
Hard to see, but small. Well, imagine, shooter, we're in this location. There is a law enforcement maneuver where you have one person in a car, a big car, like he was saying, where you would have the car kind of roll up this side to try to provide coverage with somebody behind the engine block, that if they take fire, they're taking fire into the vehicle. That is a maneuver that you've heard of before. have you not?
Using a vehicle as cover, yes. That particular scenario, no.
Right, like rolling the car real slow, and then as you're rolling the car real slow, he can pump, 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 pump. He can
I
pump
understand
it.
what you're trying to say.
You see what I mean? You can pump
Yes.
into the car, but you can kind of pop it over. Well, the reason you would want a bigger car for that is you want a bigger engine block, because the engine block, as we know, is the only thing that can block or stop a round like the one that he was firing. If even that does, but it's the only thing on a car that really will, because everything else is gonna go through it like Swiss cheese.
No, not necessarily. I think that's more of an opinion.
Okay.
And I've
Okay.
been in trainings where we've used the pillars to the cars, which is the pillars that holds the windshield, the front door, the passenger door, and we've shot multiple rounds, including practice ammo and duty ammo, and it'll stop it. But
Yeah.
I think that's just a,
I
no,
guess
but,
I guess I'm thinking a pillar though is probably, what you're talking about is probably about that wide.
yes, but you can double them up and use them as cover, because it's, if you stand at an angle, the pillars are wide. My point is that the engine block is not the only thing
Okay.
that'll stop a bullet,
But let's talk about
especially
this though.
223.
Yeah, let's talk about this though. Doors, probably not good. If you can shoot through a door with a firearm like
I don't agree with that.
that. Okay. Window, you gotta agree with the window. That you shoot through a window with a firearm like that. You
A
don't
regular
agree?
vehicle, non-ballistic window, I agree with you.
Right. So I don't know, like ballistic window, you're talking about like what we would
A
call.
bulletproof glass,
Well, yeah, bulletproof glass. right.
okay,
Sure.
just to be clear.
Yeah, not bulletproof glass.
Okay.
I don't think that most police cars though have bulletproof glass in them. Do you? I mean, is that your experience? I don't know.
I don't either.
Like, what about yours that you drive with the Rangers? Is that bulletproof?
No, sir, not at
Right.
all.
I didn't figure. So really, what I'm talking about is like, I mean, let's just talk about a regular car, right? Like, bullets go through glass. Yes.
Yes,
They do teach you like, hey, if you're kind of standing next to you're just like standing next to your door. Rounds can go through a door. I mean, you don't even have to have a rifle for that. I've seen 9mm rounds go through a door in a car. You agree with that? That they can?
I'll take your word for it. It's possible.
Okay. I mean, yeah, because as a prosecutor, a long time ago, prosecuted murder cases where, I mean, I see them. The guy got shot in the car through the door, right? And have you never seen a case like that?
Yes.
Okay, so you know too that bullets can go through doors. But the engine block, the reason why is because the engine block is big, it's steel, it's got a lot of I guess mass to it. And the more mass and the more steel and the more things you have like that, the more likely to block a round. With that.
I agree with you.
Okay. So all I'm saying is a maneuver like that, if they think that they're challenging somebody here in the parking lot who has a rifle and he has, they have pistols. Because you asked him, are y'all giving rifles? He said, nope, we don't. We don't have any rifles, right?
Correct.
Okay, and Nico's asked the question, and I'll ask you. I mean, if you are in a situation where there's a gunman and you have your firearm, would you rather be the one with the rifle or the pistol?
I'd rather be the one with the rifle.
Right, especially outside. Maybe not in like very close quarters, but outside, any of that, a rifle, longer range and more accuracy. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Okay. So, however, if the belief is that the person is here, that's one thing that can happen with a bigger vehicle. But I wanted to point out, as part of that is that I didn't go in until I got cover. That doesn't necessarily mean I was waiting for cover until I went in. Do you see what I mean by that?
Can you explain that again?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
so in one scenario, I didn't get in until I got cover means I wasn't gonna go in. I didn't go in until I got cover means I wasn't going in until I had cover officers there. One scenario. The other scenario is I didn't go in until I got cover, which is just placing it in time when he went in. Do you see, is there a difference or a distinction?
I don't think I can tell you what his intent was when he said he didn't go in, because then I'd be assuming this is what he meant.
Yes. Well, and that's really where I want to get, because and this isn't on you, but I mean, you could have asked a follow-up question. What do you mean by that? Were you actually waiting for cover before you went in? Or did you just not, at the same time that you're seeing the bullet come out of the window, which determined that, okay, now we know that the person is inside the school? Are all of these things kind of happening at the same time, and then your cover's arriving as well as the time that you noted the location? Yeah, I mean, you could have followed that up, but you didn't in the interview.
Correct.
Right, okay. So, and what's important about talking about seeing a round come out of that east side glass is that, first of all, I'm going to be up and down a lot, I'm sorry. Is that, first of all, if he were in, because this is, I don't know if you saw it later, but this is where Donald Page's vehicle ended up parking, kind of right here, kind of even with the south door. Did you know that, the other police officer?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll see stuff that'll show that Page is kind of in this area. What I want to point out is that anybody standing in this area can't see rounds coming out of this window because their view is blocked by the building, right?
You're saying that they're standing on the south side of the building?
Yeah, like right here. Because if I'm standing here, even with this door, and rounds start coming out of these windows here, I will not be able to see the rounds coming out of the window because of the glass. I can maybe hear it, but you can't see it because there's a building there. You see what I mean?
I'd have to get a better angle, or a better view of another angle, because I can't give you an accurate answer from that
Sure,
angle.
no, I get it. So let me do it like this. If I am, we're talking about a building, so we're talking about big. So if I am a person in a building, and I'm standing on this side of the building, right? This is the side of the south side, let's say.
Mhm.
South side. And these windows are here, rounds are coming out there. If I'm standing here on the south side, blocked by the building, I'm not going to be able to have that line of sight across the windows to see rounds coming out of that. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Okay. And that's kind of, because we've been out there, we kind of looked at all this, and that's how that school is. And I know you've been out there too. But, and my only point to make with that is to say, when he told you, he said, look, I'm seeing rounds come, I see something flying out of the glass on the east side. He's still up here, because up here, you do have line of sight to what's coming out of that building.
That's correct.
Right. And he tells you he goes down because Page has come up, and he goes down to Page. They meet here, and they go in the south door, along with, I think, two other people, the chief and somebody else, is what he said, right? Coronado.
Correct.
Right, so Coronado, they do that, and you've seen that hallway. You saw the hallway at the time that they're moving through the hallway, that they're going down the hallway, both south and in from the north. Like videos of it, or you haven't, I don't know.
I haven't seen that video.
Okay, have you heard, or did you interview anybody, did you interview like Donald Page or anybody else who were the first people to go in the building when they knew the gunshots were in the building?
I don't remember interviewing Donald Page. I remember I
Anybody?
interviewed Eduardo Canales, Uvalde Police Department.
Okay, so Canales, what about anybody that, like what about the two that were shot in the exchange of gunfire with the gun, with the shooter?
I don't
Was that
remember if I
Canales?
did.
Was that Canales in the leg? So one got it in the leg and one got it in the head. It kind of grazed him. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And that occurred, and Adrian told you that as part of the interview, that they went in, that they figured out that shots were coming inside the school, and they went into the school. He told you that.
Can you repeat the question?
He told you that he, along with the other officers, he said he figured it out because he figured out this guy is not on the west side of the building in the teacher parking lot. He's inside this school because there's a bullet coming out of the school.
Correct.
Right. So he starts going to Page. Page comes in, and he goes in with Page, and they go into that school building to the south side.
Correct.
That's action. You'd agree with that?
Correct.
Because, and you could probably attest to this, because that would be terrifying, to be in a hallway with a gunman with a rifle. That is a scary situation for anyone to be in,
Correct.
who's intent on killing you.
Yes,
Right, so, regardless of how that feels, he took action and he went down that hallway. But one of the ways you asked the question, you said, did anyone say, we need to go down that hallway, this hallway, and we need to find the shooter? He said no. Now, this, and it goes back to like, if we parse out the question. They could be going down the hallway to find the shooter, but no one said that that's what they were doing. Do you see what I mean by that?
yes.
Right. So, because your question was specific. Did anyone say we need to go down the hallway and find the shooter? The answer is no. But that could be because no one said that. They were just doing it. Do you see what I mean?
Possibility, yes,
Because why else are they in the hallway advancing towards the room where they think the shooter is? Right?
yes.
And I say that, and it's not because, like I said, at the time, you weren't investigating him, and you weren't necessarily asking some of those follow-up questions, and it did not know we would be sitting here years later talking about it in court. But I guess the idea that he's in that hallway and the shooter doesn't completely emerge from the classroom, but the gun comes out of the classroom and shoots two of the officers that are in that hallway, right?
I don't think that's accurate, that the gun came out of the classroom? Are you saying that the suspect actually
He didn't come out, the gun came out.
pushed the muzzle out of the classroom and fired rounds?
Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
That's an assumption. I don't have enough information to give you a correct yes or no. That if I answered that question, I'd be giving you an assumption
Okay.
that happened.
I'm
My
just-
understanding was that
He
when I
shot
spoke to Mr. Gonzalez, the suspect was shooting through the walls.
through the walls.
Yes, from inside the classroom.
But what Adrian said, well, he did shoot through the walls at some point, because Adrian said that like he could see like plaster whizzing out by Page, right? He says that to you in the interview.
Yes, correct.
And
Piece of
that's-
sheetrock
Sheetrock.
flew out towards.
And that would be consistent with him shooting, the gunman shooting through the walls, right?
Correct.
But Adrian also told you that the officers coming from the north, that they were trying to peek into the classroom. And he said he was trying to peek in, and I don't know what happened, but then shots started coming in their direction, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And those things are loud, and shot about, I think he said 7 to 9 times.
Correct.
Right.
Mhm.
So, at the time that we're talking about that hallway, that it seems to me that there are 5 or 6 people in the hallway, officers in the hallway.
About 6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7. So now Adrian is not the only person the only officer that's on the scene. There are other officers. They are advancing towards a gunman. The gunman is using his gun to back them off, to try to keep them back. He's laying down fire at them, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, the gunman, the shooter, this monster, being aware that there are now officers in the hallway. I'm gonna walk through that. The gunman being aware that there are officers in the hallway, he knows now he can't come out of those rooms without meeting the officers in the hallway, right? You have to assume.
I can't answer that question because I never spoke to the suspect. I don't know what his train of thought was or what his mental
I'm not saying
status
necessarily-
was.
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily him. I don't think you or anybody should even try to get into a mind that's sick and diseased.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is that anybody, just a human being who sees, oh, there's police officers now in the hallway, would know there ain't any other way out except out through those windows, or I gotta come through the door, or they're gonna come through it. I mean, that's a reasonable expectation. The officers are gonna come in.
Yes, I agree
Right.
with that.
And you know, from your investigation, you know that when they finally did breach, that the shooter was posted up in that closet directly across from the door of 111.
Correct.
And he was intent. I mean, the reason he was there, he was hiding himself, and he was there with his gun, obviously trained on the door. You know that,
Correct.
right? waiting to be a cop killer, wanting to be a cop killer, right?
Correct.
Okay, so now Adrian's mere presence alone with these other officers have shown the suspect that there are officers in the hallway and that he is now contained. These two rooms are the only rooms he can go to.
Correct.
Okay. Then, so that's, at some point, that's containment. As well as, he doesn't, you would agree that no shooter, nobody in that position would know when the breach is gonna happen outside. There's no way for them to know inside when the breach is gonna happen.
Correct.
Right. So, there is a possibility that he crawled in there and stayed in there waiting for the officers for as long as it took to breach, because he wanted to be ready to be a cop killer. There's
It's a
possibility.
possibility, yes.
Right. And if that is a possibility, he didn't go to the other room and shoot any more of those children in 112. If he's posted up wanting to, waiting and wanting to kill a police officer coming in, because he doesn't know when.
Mhm.
And he doesn't want to be caught out, not getting his chance to be a cop killer as well. That's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Right. And so, there's a lot of things that people have said, but the actions, at least getting down the hallway and at least taking the shooter's fire and letting them know that they were there, could have been beneficial to help some of the kids that were in 112. Could have been,
Yes.
by distracting him, because now he's distracted by, now I want to go and get these guys instead of going over to 112 again and looking to see if there's anybody that's playing dead, which we know that they were.
It's
Right?
possible, yes.
Okay, so and regardless of who you are, somebody's firing a rifle in a hallway where you're at, it's a scary situation for whoever you are.
Correct.
Police officer, regular person, it's hard, it's scary, right?
Correct.
Okay. At the time, he told you that at some point, because their radios don't break inside the school. Now, that is a situation that a police officer does not create. They do not create having crappy radios that don't work inside of a building that they're supposed to be in there protecting people, right? He didn't create that.
Correct.
Right. And radioing for backup, you would agree is necessary. He said, I tried to alert every agency that I could find, and we know that almost every agency there responded.
Correct.
Right. So he has to leave the school in order to make the radio work, though. He has to back out of the hallway and make the radio work.
Yes.
Okay. And that's not normal. Like you would want your police officers to have their radio working wherever they are inside of the school.
We want to, yes.
Right. Because that's your lifeline. That's how you communicate to each other what a threat is. It's how you communicate for backups and reinforcement and things like that, right?
Yes.
I mean, in a situation like that, an officer who doesn't have access to a radio is at a disadvantage.
Yes.
Ranger Ryan Kendall, he was there, but did he go in with the breach team?
No, he did not.
Okay. So the time that he was there, but not rushing to the door and trying to breach into that door.
I can't tell you. I can't testify to what he did.
Okay, but you know he wasn't on the breach team.
He was not on the breach team.
Got it. And we heard from one of the other officers that was, which, I mean, no doubt, it's incredibly brave and good thing to do for them to have done, because as we've heard, Wayne Jackson was on the end of the stick from Border Patrol and he got shot in the head by the shooter. Correct. And you knew that. And you also, I'm sorry, because it.
Just bad water.
Yeah, okay. And the shield person in front, like they went in behind the shield, and the shield person took rounds on the shield from the shooter as they were coming in the door.
Correct.
All right. Without the shield, that would have just been rounds inside a human being.
Correct.
Right. And depending on where they, shoot in the head, dead, but if they have a rifle-rated vest, they can perhaps survive it, right?
Correct.
If they don't have a rifle-rated vest, those rounds will go through a pistol-rated vest.
I would assume so.
Yeah. So, a dead police officer cannot help anybody else. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So, so there were, you know, because we talked to the guy who actually went in, he thought his daughter might have been in the classroom. Arrived at the school, figured out what was happening, and he said he arrived at 11:56 and the breach team went in at 12:50. So even him, even a person who went in and thought this is the last moment I'm spending on planet Earth because this guy's about to shoot me, even that person, there was almost an hour before he went in, and that's what he testified to. And is that consistent with what was going on with the other officers that you interviewed on the scene or that your other rangers interviewed?
I can't speak on the behalf of the other rangers, what their interviews. Can you reword the question?
Yeah, so his experience of even perhaps having his daughter inside of that classroom, not knowing if she were in that classroom or not, and being, I'll tell you what, no doubt being a brave police officer, because he did put his life on the line to go in that room. But even he was waiting 50 minutes or so from the time he arrived to the time that they breached. Is that consistent with the other people that you interviewed? That there was that wait time?
I can't answer that question because I don't have the exact times of when officers arrived and when they didn't.
Okay. But you would also agree that a wait time of that long, who was waiting for what you understand is they were trying to get a breach team together that had the proper equipment that could breach in there without getting themselves killed.
That was my understanding, yes.
Now so now looking at defense 10, I don't know. To remind me, you said you did not know that the 3 officers were there, but you do know now. Is that a fact?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 officers here. Shooter goes into the west entrance here, and then they drive all the way around the building to this. I'll show you over here. They drive all the way. Shooter goes in the building, and they drive all the way around here and come up through here. Did you know that they had done that? So
Can you repeat that? Oh.
Yeah. So they're here. They're basically at the. Let me make sure I got orient myself. Okay. Funeral home. This intersection right here. At this intersection, they're in a, like their cars are in a formation, I guess, and you know they're ducking because they think people are shooting at them, or somebody is. So the shooter goes in this door, this entrance, and they drive around here, and then they run up through here and go into the south door. Did you know that as part of?
No.
Okay. It'd be weird, right, to see somebody with a gun go into school and then drive around the school and then come up through there, right?
I don't know what their intention was in doing so.
Well,
You'd
yeah,
have to make an assumption that that's what happened. I mean,
sure, but you would expect it's like, you know, you'd be driving right up to that door and then rushing through the door after the shooter. That's what your alert training says.
correct?
Right. It would say you get from here to here and you run in there and you do whatever you can do with the shooter, with whatever you have. All right, and that's because you've seen it with your eyes and you've seen what's happening and you have to follow up on it. Now, in this particular situation, there was a wreck that happened first, right?
Yes.
Now, in your interviews with your officers, did you interview Uvalde specific officers or teachers or anybody there that talked about the bailouts that happened basically all the time in Uvalde at that time?
Yes, I did.
And did they talk to you about that it was with such frequency? It was happening so often that people were getting desensitized to it. Like, it's another bailout. Oh, like, you know, it's another person. Oh, we got to shut down the school or do lockdown. Did you get that idea or that sense from the people that you interviewed?
I don't specifically remember if it happened, how often it happened, but there was an interview that I conducted where they mentioned that it was an area where there was a lot of bailouts related to human smuggling. And then once in a while, the school would go on lockdown because of it.
Right, and so, so just talking about that, if there's a separate, like, and nobody's saying it's right in hindsight. Obviously, in hindsight, there's all kinds of stuff that everybody, probably including you, would have done different. But if there's that experience of these bailouts, and then there's a wreck, and then somebody's jumped out, right? Then, if you have that many, it can seem, or people can believe, law enforcement can believe that I'm dealing with one of those again, right?
Well, that goes back to educators and law enforcement with complacency.
Yeah.
And it's a responsibility of every officer not to be complacent, treat every individual incident like it might be an example, an active shooter or a person just trespassing on a school premises.
No.
So they shouldn't be taken lightly.
I agree with that, and, you know, like and it's true, but, you know, complacency, like, if somebody's experienced something over and over again, I'm not saying, you know, Adrian's one of the ones that is responding to that thing like there's a school shooter. He's the one that's running to where he thinks the danger is. He's driving directly towards what he thinks is a threat. You agree with that?
I
Based
agree.
on what you've heard. And then going into the hallway of a person that has a rifle, when he tells you, I see that this guy, there's a shot coming out of that window, and I go up the hallway with these other guys. We go into the school, into the hallway where the guy with the rifle we think is, or is located around.
Correct.
Right. Both times trying to go towards the thing that could kill him. And he's doing that in those two situations that we've talked about, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess what I mean is with complacency, it's not just, I'm not talking about Adrian, but I'm talking about if you have all these bailouts and things are going on all the time, if your first thought is not that they're going into this school to hurt children, but going through this school to get away from us, it's not a great thought. That's our face. I agree with you. But that can explain why they think that they're meeting him on the other side of the building, and then they come back through like, oh, he didn't come out. You see what I mean? It's not a correct thing to think. It's not a correct thing to think, perhaps, and especially in hindsight. But there is no other reason than that an officer would go around this way, except they think that the guy's going to be around that way. As an officer, you would agree with that? If you were going to drive around here, it's only because the guy you saw you think is going to be around here and not inside the school shooting kids.
That's a possibility, yes.
Right. Yeah, right, because we're not defending it, right? Like we're not defending that action or anything else, but also they're not sitting in that chair either, right? Even if, I mean, people make mistakes. Nobody charged them with any crime. And nobody charged you, and nobody charged any of the other officers that were out there. That were clearly out there for a long time while shooting was going on inside a classroom. I'm not saying to you, you said you didn't hear any shots. But you agree that there were shots, even later on into the incident, there were shots in that classroom.
Yes, I agree with you.
Right, and officers were there and present and didn't go inside.
Correct.
All right. So you treated all of them, including Adrian, as witnesses?
Yes.
Not suspect?
Yes.
Right. It was only years later it came around and they picked one and put him in his chair.
That's going to be up to the totality of circumstances.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. It's not up to you. I'll pass it.
Thank you, Rob. Just want to start tying down a few details, okay? There's considerable discussion about whether or not, when Melody Flores was talking about Adrian Gonzalez, whether or not that was discussion about the shots were coming over there on the other side of the building or in the private teacher's parking lot.
Correct.
How many times did Adrian Gonzalez say that Melody Flores told him by the teacher's parking lot?
About 3 times.
So it's not just on the other side of the building, it's a very specific place by the teacher's parking lot.
Correct.
And now, as to active shooter, we talked about line of sight, and we talked about sound. In an active shooter situation, what does the sound of gunfire tell you?
Where the general area where it's coming from.
Okay. And if it's at Robb's school during a school day and you hear gunfire coming from the teacher's parking lot, is that an active shooter situation?
Yes.
Whether you see it or hear it, it's an active shooter situation.
Yes.
And if you hear it 30 seconds before somebody else, you're in a better position to know it's an active shooter situation.
Yes.
And if you hear it's an active shooter situation and you're a police officer, what are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to, the proper thing to do is isolate the suspect and then distract and then try and neutralize. So you move to the sound of gunfire as,
You move to the sound of gunfire,
yes,
try to distract him, try to isolate him, or try to neutralize him, take him out.
yes,
And of course, a dead police officer would be no help to the kids in 111.
of course,
A dead police officer would be no help to the kids in 112.
yes,
Would a police officer hearing shots all the way down the west side of the building and into the hallway and into 111 and 112, a police officer hearing all that and not moving, is that any help to those children in 111 and 112?
no it's not,
Is it any more help than a dead police officer?
no it's not.
But at least you tried.
Who tried? I'll just object to that, it's a big question, but honestly, I don't.
I'll sustain the objection.
Now, let me also ask you about a dead police officer. Can a police officer use this building as cover if he has specific information that the shooter is in the parking lot?
Yes, he can.
And by cover, it means that he can have cover so that the gunman can't see him.
Correct.
And he can choose the time to make a quick peek to see the gunman.
The officer can use the cover as concealment also, yes, to
And
not be seen.
concealment. So he can definitely have an advantage by peeking when he wants to, and he certainly has not put himself in any harm's way.
Correct.
And finally, I believe the testimony that you've given us was dispatcher said, man with a gun,
Correct.
no shooting at that time.
Correct.
Difference between a man with a gun and a man shooting.
Correct.
A man that is shooting is more dangerous than simply a man with a gun,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So when Adrian Gonzalez drove toward the person in pink,
Not pink, it was orange or red.
orange or peach, I think.
Orange or peach? Yes.
Peach,
Yes.
drove to the person with orange and peach, he had no information there'd been any shooting then, right?
That's correct.
And so he acted when all he knew was there was a man with a gun.
Correct.
Now, when the teacher tells him he's over there, he's in the parking lot, he's in black, isn't that when Adrian Gonzalez said that's when the shooting started?
Correct.
And did he act then?
Yes.
He said that he started walking to the back of his vehicle, and that's when he heard the shots fired.
Walking in the back of his vehicle,
Correct.
taking cover.
He never said he was taking cover. He just said that he walked from the front to the back of his
Did he
patrol
tell you
vehicle.
I didn't go in until I had cover?
During the interview, he makes a comment that he goes into the south building. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what his words were. I
We
hate
can
to
listen to
misquote
the
him.
tape,
Yes.
But when he sees Pargas's vehicle, he wants Pargas's vehicle to come over because he's got a bigger unit, correct?
That's what I understood in the interview.
For cover.
Yes,
So when Pargas gets here, he's still looking for cover from Pargas's unit.
yes, that's correct.
And so when his supervisor, his boss arrives, and 3 other people arrive, and they're told to go in, at that time he goes in, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, he knows, and has known for some time, that there are already shots in the classroom, correct? He saw glass breaking out of the east side.
Mr. Gonzalez says that
I've got an objection to leading.
Your Honor, he's qualified him as an expert.
Well, you can't lead an expert in saying correct after every sentence.
Okay, let's sustain the objection, rephrase it, please. Hey, y'all don't cut that other one loose, we're not doing it tonight. Okay,
This is the last
yeah,
area.
either way, I can't keep staff here that long. So-
Very good. I apologize. And so, did Adrian Gonzalez tell you anything about seeing glass come out the window?
yes, he did.
And would that indicate that there's a shooter in the room where that glass is coming out,
That's what he believed. Yes, sir.
not the hallway?
Can you reword that question?
The room would not be the same as the hallway.
Correct.
And he was not the first one in, correct?
No, he wasn't.
Donald Page was the first one in, correct?
What, can we back up to that other question? I'm sorry. When you said that the rounds went through the window, Mr. Gonzalez says that he knew the shooter wasn't outside the building. He knew that he was inside the building now. Not necessarily that he was in the hallway or in one of the classrooms, but that's how he was able to tell from outside to inside the building.
But he didn't go in until there were 3 people for cover.
Correct.
And he was not the first one in.
Correct.
And do you know how long it was between the time he heard the first shots and when he finally went in?
I do not.
Do you know how many children died in that period of time?
I do not know.
In an active shooter situation, most of the killing happens in the first 2 minutes, doesn't it?
I'm not aware of the information that it does or doesn't.
Okay, you took alert classes, right?
Yes,
And they studied the histories of how quickly those killings happen.
correct,
And present and time is of the essence.
correct.
Every second could cost a life.
Yes,
As the witness.
Just real quick, if you're not the first one in, but he said Donald Page hit one side of the hallway and he went down the other side.
correct.
Right. So they're both going down the hallway, but he's on this side of the hallway and Donald Page is on the other side.
Yes,
Okay. The prosecutor is trying to mash it all into something that fits the reason this guy's sitting here.
Comments on what I'm trying to do, Your
Well, that's what he's trying to do.
I'm gonna
I'll
object.
sustain the objection,
Yes, Your Honor.
rephrase it.
Yes, Your Honor. But ultimately, a person who is going towards somebody who they believe is armed, that is a dangerous, potentially dangerous situation. You would agree with that?
yes,
Right. I mean, but the prosecutor said, well, he didn't hear that there were shots fired, so therefore it's not dangerous. You wouldn't agree with that statement.
I didn't say that it wasn't dangerous, Your Honor.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, questions are not evidence. If your recollection is different, rely on your own. Proceed.
Yeah, it's dangerous. That's what he's doing. He's going towards danger, potential danger, right?
yes,
Right. The doors, the outer doors, inner doors, outer doors, inner doors. Those doors are locked and the shooter has a harder time getting inside. You would agree with that?
Which doors are you talking about? The
Outer.
inside doors or the outside doors?
Both. Start with the outside.
The outside doors?
If they're locked, he can't get into the school, or he has a harder time doing it. You would agree?
He has a harder time getting inside the school.
Right. He'd have to maybe back up and shoot it a bunch of times, I don't know, but it would be more difficult for him to do that.
Yes,
Okay. Inside doors, that's why we tell them to lock the doors, is because inside doors, if they're locked, shooter has a harder time getting in.
Yes,
All right, and gives officers more time to delay and distract and all of those things that we talked about.
yes, of course.
All right, now, the prosecution's own evidence shows the video, the second, when he's able to call out that the person is on the west side of the teacher parking lot, the shooter has 1 second before that already entered the building. So you can cut a pie at the field all you want. The second he got it and snuck a peek, he would have been looking at an empty side of the building because the shooter was inside of it. Did you know that from your investigation?
No, sir.
All right. But he did tell you the second, once he saw a bullet come out of the building and realized he was in the building, he started moving towards the building, from his car to where Donald Page was.
Yes.
All right. That's it, Judge. Pass with us.
And the time on the dispatch will say how long that distinction is that correct?
Between radio, yes, between the time Mr. Gonzalez radioed anything, it'll show that time.
So if Adrian Gonzalez knows he's in the building and then dispatches, and then we then know when he heads toward the building, that will tell us how long has passed that Adrian Gonzalez did nothing when he knew the shooter was in the building. Correct?
Correct.
And if a police officer does his job in an active shooting situation, he can prevent somebody to get into the first door. Is that correct?
In a perfect example, yes. If everything fell into place, exactly, yes.
And what does solo entry mean in an active shooter situation?
Means one officer making entry into a potential threat, where the potential threat is.
So, and is an officer expected to go in solo entry when there's an active shooter?
In alert training, yes.
Absolutely.
But if they haven't had alert training, then maybe not.
If the officer hasn't gone through alert training, I wouldn't expect him to follow any of the procedures because he doesn't know.
Pass with.
If he taught a class on it 2 months earlier where he said solo entry should be prepared for, then you might expect him to go in solo?
Yes, sir.
That's the witness.
I have nothing for you, Judge.
I've forgotten, are we on cross?
Yes, sir.
Or direct?
I'll stop it here. I got nothing.
We're all
further.
done?
Yes, sir.
Is he excused, not subject to recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're
We
gonna
want
look
him
at
on recall, Judge. We want him subject to recall.
All right, so we're gonna hold that other witness till 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll do that matter outside the presence of the jury. I need the lawyers here at 8:30. Need y'all back at 9 o'clock. The rule's been invoked, sir. You are subject to recall. You know what the rule is, but please don't discuss the case with anyone other than the lawyers and be available in the event of a recall.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You're excused for today. Would everyone rise for the jury? 9 o'clock tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.